This photographer may have captured a real-life mermaid on camera. Published by Top Generality in May of 2022, this mysterious photo was taken in a swampland location. The pic appears to show a female figure with the bottom half of a fish. The mermaid lies in shallow water, but her features are hidden under a hood. She is also wearing a long-sleeve shirt. Apparently, an award was set up for this mermaid's capture. According to the channel Top 5 Best, what makes some skeptical about this mermaid is its wardrobe. Who's heard of a mermaid wearing a top and a hood over its face? But if not a mythical creature, what is this? Leave your theories in the comments. What happens when you're on an extreme ghost hunt that goes horribly wrong? Published to YouTube in July of 2020, Simply Sereth can answer that question. He suggests using earphones to get the full effect of what happened to him and his crew when they got trapped in by unseen forces while exploring this bungalow. In the video, they wander through the dark abandoned house. It's raining outside, which adds to the creepy ambiance inside the home with its empty windows and doors. Nearly straight away, they keep hearing noises that makes them jump and search around for the source. The home is nightmarish, with bats or birds swooping down from the ceiling every so often. At one point at 14 minutes 30 seconds, they hear footsteps above. At another point, there's a loud bang at the end of the hallway they're hovering in. While talking through the spirit box, they feel like something is at the end of the hallway again. They run for a moment, but then stall to talk again to the spirit box. They must have felt trapped like rats as they kept hearing noises on opposite ends of the hallway. But thankfully, they eventually escaped with their lives. But did something else come with them? There needs to be an explanation for these strange lights. Posted to the r/ghosts subreddit. Paleontologist Key 440 captured the security footage in his backyard. He writes that the property has been super active since they moved there in 2016. And this footage is from May of 2021, which must mean these types of occurrences are nothing new. The footage shows lights hovering and flashing, first to the left of the frame, and then on both sides simultaneously. Some in the comments think they're fireworks, but one user remarked that there is no smoke. What do you think it is? Extraterrestrial or paranormal? I don't think either option is very ideal. This Redditor was seeing shadows moving from room to room throughout his home. He wanted to capture the phenomenon on video, so he set up a security camera. This is what he found. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by GusBR89. The Redditor asks fellow Redditors to explain the following two surveillance videos. The first video shows a strange light anomaly coupled with a shadow distortion. The second video is taken that same evening and shows an orb float across the screen. Most assume the orb is dust, but others are curious about the shadow disturbing the first video. Redditor Cloudette says it looks like an intruder, while Yetin admits it certainly looks like something, though no Redditor really has a clear answer as to what this exactly is. The Redditor says this is not the only paranormal experience he's had in the place. He's heard footsteps, a child's laughter, and even has a witness to one of these shadows passing directly in front of them. While all of this is upsetting, many are more afraid of the doll, and nevertheless this video appears to convincingly show something paranormal. Did this drone footage capture a spirit manifestation on camera, or is this just a reflection? Redditor Staffordshire PE had investigated this old Welsh hotel, and after experiencing a very active night, returned to capture some drone shots. That's when they saw this. See if you can spot it. Did you see it? Here it is up close. It does look like something semi-transparent flies past the third window to the left. Most in the comments agree that it's a reflection, but others think it's strange that the reflection appears to move while the drone is stationary. Others are saying there doesn't appear to even be a window pane in the broken window. So what do you think? It does look like a reflection to me, but I'd rather believe it's Casper the friendly ghost. YouTuber Extinct File encounters the ghost of the Poco Aunties in this creepy video. As the team explores the abandoned place, they spot the ghost in a doorway.
Donde dormían. No inventes, güey. Cámara 2, güey. Hola.
A little further along, they capture an unexplained sound.
No puede ser, güey. La madre.
And then another. They believe the spirit here was pregnant.
En el estómago. Quizá estaba embarazada, güey. Estabas embarazada.
They then hear wailing in the distance. It continues for minutes. After a while, the crying stops, but then starts up again. And then this happens.
No mames, güey. No mames, cámara 2. Güey, ¿qué pedo? No mames.
When they enter the enclosure, the figure is gone. Where did she go? I'm convinced they truly encountered the ghost of the Poco Aunties, and if they did, they'd better hope these spirits didn't attach themselves. This Mineral Springs Hotel is seriously haunted, and the YouTube team Paranormal Quest has come to investigate. They set up a Steadicam and a K2 meter in one of the rooms, and the K2 immediately registers some activity. A few minutes later, movement is heard, and the REM pod goes off again. Their spirit box later captures this sweet wish.
Rest in peace.
Huh.
Or is it a warning? Later, they enter this room and are met with a reaction from the music box.
What? Whoa, where is it? Paranormal music box right back here. Whoa. Right there, dude. Oh, who is that? Clarence? Is that you? Do you like the music box?
It seems the answer to that question is yes. When they talk about going down into the basement, the spirit has something to say about it.
No, but it might be worth it. Let's go brave the bugs. Are you trying to talk to us?
This spirit has had enough of them. Later, during an essay session in the basement, the spirit gives them his final warning.
Leave.
I just need you to confirm if you want us to leave right now, and we will. But I need you... Cat ball it up.
Absolutely.
That seems like enough confirmation to me. In my opinion, whatever is here very clearly wants them to leave, and if they don't listen, who knows what will happen. A woman has a full-on break from reality while on public transportation. She carries a full conversation with herself in some sort of laughing tone that only she can understand. Then she becomes absolutely overwhelmed with grief before snapping out of it. When someone approaches her to offer comfort, she switches back to laughter with a glare. The person wisely keeps their distance and does not come any closer. Next, the woman pulls out a dirty towel with stains and disappears into her own world, apparently laughing again. I really hope she gets the help she needs, because this seems like some sort of mental episode that needs to be treated fast. She and everyone around her are lucky that this didn't escalate to the point where someone had to physically intervene. At around 5 a.m., Redditor SEC126's security camera captures what appears to be a spooky apparition. See for yourself. It looks like a ghostly shape shifts into view. The Redditor says the motion sensor was triggered by this. Redditors in the comments share their theories. While some do think it's a full-body apparition passing by, I don't think the video is clear enough or long enough to tell for sure. In the 9th century, Mount Fuji erupted over 6 months, burying entire villages. This led to dense forest growing over a massive lava field known as Aokigahara, or the Sea of Trees. YouTuber Steve Ronan visits Japan's most haunted forest, and he is in danger. While standing and talking in the darkness, a loud roar is heard off screen. The strangest thing about this is the guys don't seem to notice or acknowledge it.
The capture.
Wait, what is an SOS?
SOS.
Obviously I know what SOS means.
They're hearing things though, and the spirits give them a clue.
Stranglehold.
Again! Bro, that was a weird voice because it sounded like from there and then just circled around us.
Just said strangled again as well.
This could be a different
Double?
person now.
Strangled again?
They speak to the spirits with a recording device, and the spirits tell them exactly where they are.
What? It sound like this is
Hang on, let me...
What is this? Are they reaching out from the beyond? I don't know if it's just my knowledge about this place's haunted history, but the ambiance here makes me feel unsettled, and that roar is going to haunt me.
Wait, what is an SOS?
SOS.
Ghost hunter Simply Sarat has a profoundly paranormal experience while exploring a haunted house in India. He sets a wind-up toy on the ledge of a window as a way for a ghost to communicate its presence. They are kind of goofing around when suddenly things get very serious and very creepy. They think laughter is coming from the window, but then they hear more scary stuff from above. They run into the room with the wind-up toy, only to hear more noises following close behind. Running footsteps sends them rushing out of the house, and as they flee, the wind-up toy moves by itself. He holds it up to the camera to make sure the paranormal evidence is caught on tape. He has one hand on the camera and one hand holding the toy. There's no tie for him to have wound it up. And the wind-up toy somehow continues to move on its own as they run into the forest away from the abandoned haunted house that has scared them so terribly bad. A YouTuber named Tate Stein Seek is investigating an old building in Oklahoma City that was once a psychiatric institute. He claims that around 4 a.m. he experiences paranormal activity and wants to document it. This time, a black container slides across the ground on its own. Watch this part and tell me if there's any way to fake this.
Alright, did you guys just see that?
I would say that it was a rope or something tied around the container, but it happens again much closer, and I don't know how this could be faked.
Did you guys see that? Okay.
He even shows it up close, and you can see nothing is attached to it at all, and nothing special is inside, so your guess is as good as mine. Picture this, it's early morning when you hear this outside your window. Published by Golfwagon in April of 2020. What would you think if this was your morning greeting? The repeated noise coming from a distance sounds like a mysterious metallic roar. It continues for nearly the entire length of the 2-minute video. The sounds don't seem to be happening at the same interval, so that makes some in the comments think its source is not, in fact, mechanical. Many commenters from all over the world, from Serbia to Indonesia to South Korea, claim to have heard similar sounds. Some believe it's atmospheric, others think it's sonar, and still others say it sounds like a living thing. Do you think it's a sign of the end of times? If so, you'd better hope you're prepared. Built around 1635, the Podhortsi Castle is said to be one of the most haunted places in Ukraine. Take a look at some of the best paranormal evidence ever taken out of the creepy castle.
Andriana! Andriana!
A ghostly figure appears in the window and waves at them before mysteriously disappearing. It's not a reflection of clouds because of how quick it fades in and out. The person filming calls out the name Adriana, who I think was the name of one of the king's many wives hundreds of years ago, and whose life was possibly taken by him. Or it's just good editing. Hard to say. This place is said to be absolutely flooded with supernatural forces, so who knows? Donnie regularly sees what he thinks is a shadow person in his home. It's always in the basement, always coming from the corner of his eye, and always going way too fast to be a normal person. He can feel its anger downstairs, and he knows that it wants to do him harm. Donnie decides to put music on blast to see what kind of reaction he can get on camera. After 20 minutes, this shadow can take no more and races upstairs, causing these lights to move. Soon the same angry feeling returns, and Donnie knows that it's back. He starts recording down a dark hall, and these bottles move on their own.
You're not welcome here.
You and I both heard them fall, but no one else is around to knock them over. At least nobody that I could see, and just around the corner are the stairs leading down to the dark, cold basement. This crab fisherman caught more than he bargained for. Published by Casey's Spotlight. Believe it or not, this is a real thing that's swimming in the waters of our oceans. Known as a wolf eel, this super creepy species dwells in the North Pacific. With a tail that stretches some 8 feet, wolf eels often wrap themselves up into caves, launching out with their wolfish heads to snatch prey, usually shellfish, urchins, and crabs. With crabs crawling in the cage alongside him, this particular wolf eel appears to be mid-meal, as there's something large in its mouth. The fishermen pull the object out of the eel's mouth. What do you think of this creepy creature? My advice? Steer clear of taking an icy dip in the North Atlantic. Some run away from ghosts, Others give chase. Posted to the very spooky video subreddit, this mysterious figure appeared on some railroad tracks, and these kids decided to follow it. In the scary video, the figure in white moves, swaying up ahead. As it tries to escape, the group of children that are following it, they get very close, but it moves faster along. They cross a bridge, but the figure still keeps ahead of them. At some point, many of the kids start crying, and the figure moves off the tracks and down a hill, where it vanishes in the darkness. Many in the comments are saying even if the figure isn't a ghost, it is creepy. And they don't trust it. Do you? I certainly don't. Uh-oh, the hand is reaching out from the other side. YouTube channel It's Jammer shares this creepy video that'll give you nightmares. The clip's original source is Instagram account Spikers.
¿Les di un cuarto? Sí, hágale. ¡Uy, marica, venga! ¡Ñero, rápido! Marica, perro, lo grabé, venga.
That was a hand, a child's hand. Look more closely, and yet there's no one there.
Marica, perro, lo grabé, venga.
This is just one of the many terrifying things that have occurred in the Instagrammer's house. Personally, I think his footage is some of the creepiest of its kind. While being given a tour of a haunted house, this lady saw the haunting with her very eyes, watched the dark doorway behind the group.
What?
Oh my
What, Emily?
help!
What's wrong?
You're right.
The cameraman apparently didn't see the ghost at the time. Only the lady to the left saw it.
What?
Oh my
She later has a panic attack, describing what she witnessed.
I saw it.
No, there was a girl in a blue dress walking towards us from that room.
Which room?
Do you see it? I certainly do. It's one of those things that's got everyone talking. This most haunted hospital in Guadalajara carries an evil energy, and this crew is there to investigate it. When they turn down a dark hallway, they appear to see some movement.
Oye, acabo de ver algo que se asomó. ¿Lo viste?
Sí.
Ah, ya, al fondo.
Things intensify as they start to hear noises in the hospital.
Hoy. Ok, aquí es donde está poniéndose más tenso.
They walk down the hallway and come across a creepy surgical room.
Mira esto.
Este impresionante.
Mira esto.
They feel a presence in the chapel.
Que son utilizados, bueno, para parte de esto, pero para otras cosas más pesadas. Si escuché esa voz. Muchas veces no lo quiero decir porque espero que la gente lo diga, pero sí lo escuché. Tú lo escuchaste.
Then they hear something unexpected.
Madre, ¿dónde está el perro? Ya me lo imaginé que venía detrás. Oh, sí, está bien el perrito entonces.
Is that Cujo? They seem to hear something in this room.
Lo social, energía en el cabello.
Later, they walk down the hallway into a room where many people say they feel anguish.
Cuando pasábamos por vidrios o espejos.
Otra vez.
Ok.
Right?
La gente dice se siente angustia en ese cuarto.
The woman also explains why they light candles to spirits instead of offering up their own energy.
Yo siempre ofrezco mi energía, la verdad.
Eso no es tan bueno.
Eso no es bueno. ¿Qué me puedes decir eso?
No. Una, pues les estás diciendo que pueden tomar toda tu energía.
Well, I didn't see anything terrifying on this hospital tour. I do feel the energy being sucked out of me just watching this. Do you feel the same? Next time you're confronted by voices in a haunted house, you should probably just skip town. Redditor Alex_Paranormal TV posted the scary paranormal investigation to the Chills Narrator subreddit. It was originally posted on YouTube in February of 2020. The house being explored is a Cole Harbour house in London. As Alex Paranormal explains, we investigate the Cold Harbor house that no one wants to live in because of the extreme activity and what resides inside the Shadow Man.
Oh, I smell there, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, I smell fire there, isn't it? Yeah.
The exploration turns up loads of paranormal activity. At 8:53 in the video, Alex mumbles something as they're exploring, to which a disembodied voice answers, "Yeah." A little later, after setting up the spirit box, it either moves or falls over on its own at 16 minutes 7 seconds.
Whoa, it's falling through stuff, mate. Did you just knock that?
Oh, mate.
Just help the light on the deck. Who are you?
A short time after, at 16 minutes 55 seconds, an evil laugh occurs as the team attempts to speak with the spirits.
Is this your room? Where are you?
The laughter occurs again at around 22 minutes 9 seconds. And at 22 minutes 49 seconds, a grunt can be heard.
You just grunt then. What was that? Was that you?
As they're talking about the grunt, a very audible knock sounds on the adjacent door at 23 minutes 35 seconds. They continue to explore the haunted house. While they're in a hallway, about to enter another room, a door slams at 26 minutes 55 seconds.
Oh, that's about you. Is that you? No.
Continuing in their exploration after a while, they discover an old Tonka truck in a room. When one guy asks if that's an old Tonka toy, a disembodied voice at 31 minutes 52 seconds answers yeah.
Look at that. That's an old Tonka toy, isn't it?
What is?
A number of other disembodied voices are noted throughout the video, as if the house was whispering a secret to them, if only they'd just listen. What was it trying to tell them, and what would you do in a house that talks to you? I'd just move out. Green Gables is the name of a fine dining restaurant in Jennerstown, Pennsylvania. The 100-year-old building is said to be haunted to the point where one worker would start recording with their phone whenever they felt something was wrong, and one night they were right.
And I don't know, something doesn't feel right about this place. Like it's I can't even describe what it feels like right now. Like this is just, what is that? Nope.
A shadowy hand definitely just extended across the waist of the statue, in my opinion. It doesn't look like a trick of the light or anything like that. These creepy situations are exactly what this century-old haunted estate is known for, so I think it's real. Oh, and one more thing that's weird. Shortly before noping out of there, the employee notices a deep slice across the length of its stone throat. Is this another paranormal sign, or just normal wear and tear? When a Shadow Welcomes You, Run and Hide, published by Polish Paranormal TV in October of 2021, this scary video explores a haunted place in Poland. Upon entering, the team uses a spirit box as they head up the stairs. Right away, the spirits start speaking. According to a translation, the spirit says either "I'm here" or "welcome here." But how welcome are they? Later, while walking down a hallway, a shadowy figure is spotted leaning against the door frame. You can see it more clearly in slow motion. Do you see it? If you do, this figure will haunt your eyes for eternity. This submission comes from my new subreddit, where you can post whatever bizarre things you come across in your everyday life. It's reddit.com/r/chillsnarrator if you want to check it out. Lost Cosmonaut 01 says that he has been dealing with paranormal stuff ever since he was a child. Apparently, spirits have always taken an interest in him. Anyway, he lives alone, and one night he managed to take a picture of this possible ghost sighting in his basement. What interests me is that this streak of light highly resembles whatever was shown in number 4. If anyone has an explanation besides the paranormal as to how this could have been caused, then please let me know, and be sure to keep your submissions coming. Well, we've all heard the story of Old Nessie, aka the Loch Ness Monster. You haven't seen anything like this footage. Published by Mark Hayes in October of 2014, the mythical creature surfaces in this scary video. The footage shows something large adrift in the middle of Loch Ness. The enormous creature breaks the surface with its eel-like body. It weaves around the lake, coming closer and closer toward the camera. Birds fly down, appearing to land on its back for a moment before flying off again. The creature's body even seems to curve up out of the water. While I've never seen a more convincing Nessie video, skeptics in the comments have me questioning things. Some commenters say it moves too rigidly and mechanically, and is more likely to be an underwater cable or a water dredge system utilizing a hose. Others think it could be an animal, not a monster, with Sue Copening writing, "Recently they have found eel DNA in the lochs in great numbers. Nessie could simply be members of a large species of eel, or perhaps eels. Is that all Nessie is? A gigantic eel?" It certainly has me questioning things. As it turns out, nostalgia isn't always a good thing. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Hey There, You Are Okay, the Redditor explains. So I was going through my old 3DS photos for nostalgia. The reason why I'm posting on this sub is because I'm not for sure if I caught anything in the background. Do you think it's younger me being scared? The video clip shows an empty bedroom. As he starts to scan the room, the video captures a dark room beyond. It's hard to tell if there's a window in that room. However, something appears to move there, or at least a shadow is cast that mimics movements. The camera passes upward to the ceiling, and when it returns to the closet, the shadow and light has changed a bit. But it's the next time the camera pans from one side to the other that the real change occurs. Explain these unknowable shadows. What is going on here? Is there something or someone in that room? No wonder the Redditor was freaked out. The passed on must be transported to their final resting place, and whether you realize it or not, sometimes you're traveling with them. Shared on Twitter by Mr. Creepyposta, this scary video showing an apparent lifeless body in the cargo hold on a plane was originally posted on Reddit. The question is, why is this body not contained within a casket? Many in the comments are freaked out by this footage. Some refer to the 2008 Thai horror film Phobia, a film about the transportation of a princess's lifeless body by plane. This short clip, however, was not taken from the movie, and it's not clear if it's genuine or staged. I think it's real. What do you think? Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Hunting the Haunted, this ghost hunter captured something startling after sitting in the Devil's Chair, which is an urban legend that is likely dated back to ancient folklore. It's a statue of a chair or bench found in graveyards. Let's watch his submission.
Wasn't even planning on stopping by until I seen that it was really close to us. So I figured I'd stop and check it out. Oh, God. Yeah, they said that, he sat in this chair.
I can clearly hear a sad moan. Is something in this graveyard upset with his choice to sit in the devil's chair? I think he should leave before things escalate.
I'm like screaming or something in this tunnel. I'm gonna go check it out.
You may think you're ready for this list, but some scary videos you're just not meant to see. The boy in this video says he hears something in this tunnel that sounds to him like a scream, so he decides to go investigate. But no, the boy enters the darkness with nothing but a void at the end of it. For a while, all you hear is his own footsteps. Then you hear this. Sounds like Alien vs. Predator up in here. The kid stops for a moment, and in that quiet, a couple footsteps splash through the water. He then says hello to the creature he cannot see, before heading forward again, but he doesn't get very far. The rattling sound echoes throughout the tunnel before the thing starts to screech in a way that makes your insides tremble. As he runs, the creature quiets for a time but lets out a final terrifying screech as the boy exits the tunnel, likely wondering what in the world he almost happened upon. Is this for real? If so, what lies in the depths of this underground? Dark Dominator thinks it's the rake, while the last one suggests it's a feral hog, but I've never heard a rattle like that from a hog before. Lesson learned: the next time you hear screaming in the darkness, it's best to run in the opposite direction. This video is short and sweet and will leave you frozen in fear. Shared by Twitter user Kazos Paranormales. No context has been shared, so let's just watch. Here's what I can collect is happening here. First off, the garbage scattered around the room is oddly unsettling. But this takes the cake. I'm not sure what's exactly happening in this video, but I do want to yeet it to the sun. The roots of British Columbia's historic Alexandra Lodge reach back over a century to the pioneer and gold rush days. While staying overnight there, YouTube team Ghostly Activities is having a physical reaction to the place.
I smell like something pushed back on my knees. Really? Like actually? Yeah. Shit. Can you do that again to Anthony?
With the spirit box on, the team is given a familiar warning.
That was fun.
It said leave.
The spirit is adamant.
Need to leave.
Leave.
Go.
Will they heed its command? Of course not. Later, while they're using the Estes method, they hear a distinct knocking.
We just heard a noise up here.
It's just like a knocking.
Of wood.
And they feel something or someone's presence.
What the heck is happening right now?
It's like we're being surrounded.
Yeah.
They're gone? No, they're not.
Is the team being surrounded? And with what intent?
Who's gonna die? Why would you say that?
I think the answer to that question is fairly obvious. What on earth is this creature? Nair BR writes of this bizarre sighting on camera. This strange creature got caught up in strong winds, and his wife was cleaning when it blew into the house. I was thinking it might be a territorial dispute between two insects, but as it unravels at 2 minutes and 25 seconds, it looks like one big creepy squirming oddity. The way it moves is unlike a snake or a worm or anything I've really seen before. It looks just as confused of us as we are of it, forming strange spiral shapes as it tumbles about, reaching out for something to grab onto. A host, perhaps. Whatever it is, it looks like something that crawls straight up your nose and takes over your brain. A parasite moving on to its next victim. Now that I've seen it, much like Nair BR, I want to know what on earth this creature is, and so I turn to you for an explanation. A YouTube channel called Salam Ya 3 Alam is demonstrating a high-flying hobby known as acrobatics when some creepy paranormal activity is caught on camera. Caught in the light of his flaming barrel is a mysterious hooded ghostly figure that hovers against the wall of an abandoned house for a few brief scary moments and then disappears. The video looks pretty real to most because the ghost appears to be the same resolution as everything else and its color does not sharply contrast with the video. This video, however creepy, has one thing that looks wrong. Notice how the video fades to black at 11 seconds. This part makes me wonder if this ghost sighting is actually real. It's early in the morning when somebody wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, and I mean that literally. The silhouette of a hand silently beckons beneath his brother's bed. The uploader of this video says the creepy shadow hand appeared one morning without warning and that it's real. I guess he was too afraid to go under the bed and find out what it was because the video ends then and there. Can't say I blame him. Hopefully somebody is holding their arm over the bed to create an illusion with their shadow of a hand reaching out, because otherwise this is just beyond creepy. Despite its name, the doll room in the historic Jefferson Hotel is a sinister place, and this video shared by the hotel's YouTube channel confirms this. Listen closely.
Some more dolls to our doll room. That particular doll is over 100 years old.
As you can see, the manager hears a noise down the hallway, and as soon as he turns to look, one of the dolls falls down in the room. Listen again. He enters to see what happens.
Another little video tour that I do when we add some more items to the rooms or whatever. So we added some more dolls to this room, which is our dolls and stuff room. And as I walked in the room, I heard a noise going down the hall right there.
He replaces the doll. But it doesn't get any less creepy. To me, it looks like it's watching him. It's past midnight at a police station in Pahang, Malaysia. A quiet crew plays chess to help pass the time, completely unaware of something that stays 2 moves ahead. The faint outline of a figure leaves them fearfully singing for protection and clambering over each other to stay far away. A different police video taken 10 years later shows more scary things that are just beyond creepy. In the darkness looms a mysterious figure, not wearing a reflective vest like everyone else, that also does not reveal any detail whatsoever, even when directly under the high-powered beam of a police flashlight. Not to mention those crying noises coming from the woods. It could be speakers, but I really doubt the police would be wasting time faking paranormal videos, so either this is a joke being played on them, or else these scary ghost videos are actually real. I want to get the opinions of people from Malaysia, where this video was made, to help me decide if these creepy videos are real, or part of a viral trend, or what. Either way, you know the paranormal activity is bad, when even the police are too afraid to do something about it. Not that there's much they can do. A YouTuber named Outdoors with Eric patrols his property at night because he suspects a mysterious creature in the woods. It's a scary exploration and a creepy location for sure, but Eric wants to get as much evidence on camera as he can, so he keeps his fear in check and marches forward. At 1 minute and 43 seconds, he hears some really scary noises coming from the woods. I don't know what kind of creature would be up late at night screaming in the darkness. What does it sound like to you? He walks for another minute until the scary noises give him pause again, much louder and closer this time.
Man, you guys hear that?
He feels watched and zooms in close with his night vision camera. You can barely make out the shape of a creature at first, so let me point it out for you.
That is bizarre.
When he plays with the setting, he gets a much better sighting on the creature, and soon discovers there are 2 of them across the stream.
They're coming closer. Analytics. Yeah.
2 dots in the distance mark where he thinks they are. The screaming creatures of the night. No doubt they are real and so are the scary noises, but the real question is, what are they? Crazy EVPs and spiritual mists run amok in the haunted Skinner's Tavern. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, Paranormal Purgatory writes, "We captured what looks like a spirit trying to manifest in the doorway." They also captured some insane dialogues with the Beyond as they attempted to communicate with the spirits inside this haunted place.
See it for a little bit. See it for a little bit. See if we can hear anything.
After an EVP translates a spirit whispering, "All pretty I am," a partial manifestation is caught in this doorway.
Recap. Oh, recap. Oh, who doesn't hit this button?
Right in the middle of the entry, you can see a trace of a ghostly mist as the camera pans round. The Redditor doesn't appear to notice it in the moment, as he calmly asks the house at large if he can get a drink. Don't blame him, he's probably gonna need a drink again when he plays this back. A water demon is lurking near a river, and we don't know what its intentions are. YouTuber Ghost23 shares this mysterious video. The figure looks oddly sinister, standing only in shadow. It appears to me to be the size and shape of a child, which makes it all the more creepy. After a moment, it moves away and out of sight. Another sighting in the area is captured from the foot of the falls. Watch for the pale figure rising out of the foliage. Here it is again. I'm not sure where this video was captured or what these figures might be, but they give off an inhuman vibe to me. What do you think is going on here? A YouTuber named Talk to Trending records a ghost video in Tamil, India. At a haunted fort, an extremely powerful spirit is said to reside here, and the ghost hunters can't resist the chance to explore the abandoned building for paranormal traces.
நான் என்னோட கேமராமேன்ட்ட போறேன். நான் இங்க தனியா நின்னுட்டு இருக்கேன். சுத்தி சத்தம் இதற்கு மூச்சு வாங்குதே.
As they talk more about the haunted place, a ghostly apparition materializes behind them. It looks to be in the shape of a person wearing robes from head to toe, and when it moves out of sight, the ghost hunter looks over his shoulder where it would have been. I think this could be his paranormal sixth sense kicking in to keep him safe, but this could also simply be the way his flashlight plays against the stone wall behind him, although it's weird that it takes such a human-like shape. Tell me what explanation you think is true. YouTuber Eder Hernandez and his crew are about to face off with some dark magic. As they're wandering in the darkness, they hear this witch's cries.
Soy... ¡Ah, la verga! Escucha, voy loco. O si se escuchó. ¡Ah, la verga, negro! ¡Ah, la verga! ¡Ah, la verga!
When they come upon this structure, they hear her again.
¿Ya te echaste? ¿Qué pedo, loco? Dime más para acá. Hazte para acá. Hazte para acá. Espérate, güey. ¿Es que dónde fue?
And then she appears.
De que hay algo paranormal aquí, hay algo paranormal. Sí, pero no es bueno. ¡A la verga! ¡No mames, güey!
At first, they keep their distance.
Güero. Alumbren allá, güey. Allá está. Alumbre. Ah, la verga.
But even from a distance, it seems she's not having it.
¡Ey! No mames. Fósil, ayúdalo, güey. Fósil, verga. Que yo traigo las cámaras, güey. Amarra aquí. Ey, espérate, loco. Edit.
They again see her in the darkness.
Se está convirtiendo en quién sabe qué verga, güey. Vámonos. Ah, no mames, güey. Vámonos.
After which, she flees into the night.
Madre, güey. Allá arriba, idiota, arriba. A la verga, güey.
Why did she take off? I think she got what she came for, Eder's soul. This woman looks like she's stretching at first, but soon you realize that something's off. Posted to TikTok by Delsry Octave, the woman is bracing herself against a door frame. It seems like she's stretching her legs. Then while chanting, she tries to enter the room. One leg drags uselessly behind her. As she moves forward, she retrieves a few items before the outstretched leg is dragged from beneath her. She is dragged down completely from the room. What's happening here? Is she possessed? Most in the comments think so. What do you think is going on here? There's nothing more haunted than something that moves of its own accord, except maybe when it jolts aggressively of its own accord. Submitted to Reddit by Nick4566. This swing in India is not child's play. Nick writes, this was seen in a well-known city of India. The park is closed since a year as a lady took her own life here long back, and the park is not used by children. Watch the swing at the beginning of the clip flinging back and forth on its own. It's a bit unnerving already, but as some in the comments point out, someone might have pushed it before the person began filming. You probably thought that yourself, but watch further. The swing slows halfway through the video only to suddenly jolt back to life. Flinging aggressively back and forth. The leaves in the surrounding trees are barely fluttering, so none of this could be due to wind or nature. It's completely supernatural. Could the spirit of the woman who took her life still be here? And why is she swinging? We may never know. A YouTuber named Isaiah Fleming makes a YouTube video of himself cleaning his dirty room as motivation to actually get the job done and over with. During the course of this cleaning, the television turns on by itself, which I guess could be explained by accidentally stepping on the remote or something. And the door opens by itself, which is caught on two different angles and much harder to explain. The room is looking much cleaner after 2 hours, and he takes a break to go do something else. This next part almost has to be edited because it's literally impossible. Okay, so the door opens at 11:41 at night, and this time without showing any breaks in the timestamp, a childhood stuffed bear disappears from view. Isaiah comes back to find the television changes to one of the cameras he has just set up in the other room. It looks like he is trying to use his remote control, but it's useless. Nothing is there then. With a flash of static, the bear is somehow sitting in the chair. He can't believe what he is witnessing at first, but as he looks to the floor, slowly realizing his house is haunted, he misses this eerie figure watching him through his own screen. Something is manifesting in this abandoned hospital. YouTuber Lalo Escalante captured this creepy entity on camera during a paranormal investigation. The spirit there does not want to let them in.
Asalto, pues. No mames, güey, yo me voy a la mierda de aquí, güey. No, yo me voy, güey. No, este servicio está más caro.
But it is there. See it lurking at the end of this hallway?
Hola.
When they enter the room, they find nothing, but the spirit continues to play.
I can listen to más.
And then they see it again.
¿Está aquí con nosotros? ¿Hola? La enfermera, güey. La enfermera, güey. Cerró la puerta.
But it always somehow evades them. The spirit again disappears.
Hey. Se está subiendo de acá. Bestia, güey. ¿Quién está ahí?
It's up on the shooting. Te estabas en uno.
Only to make one last spooky cameo.
¿Qué viste? ¿Qué?
What does this spirit want? To me, it's difficult to tell if this is even a spirit at all. It looks solid and moves like a human. Then again, it disappears in a way that's unbelievable. It could go either way for me. What do you think is going on here? Nadim Shah suspects he's caught some paranormal things on video when he goes exploring an abandoned building that is little more than pillars in the dark. He suspects a place this creepy has to be haunted, and the ghost hunter's instincts are not wrong.
हम देखते हैं अगर हमें कोई यहाँ पे भारी चीज या कोई जिनों का साया नजर आता है कि नहीं. हम जिन की तलाश में निकल तो नाजरीन ये कुछ हिलता हुआ हमें नजर आया है. तो ये आवाजें कैसी आ रही है? आए नाजरीन हम हिम्मत करके वहाँ जाने की कोशिश करते.
2 ghost sightings are enough for Nadim. He needs a paranormal encounter up close to be fully convinced. He follows the ghosts into the darkness for one final sighting.
इसको देखते हैं ये कौन सी मखलूक है, क्या चीज है. इसको हम पकड़ने की कोशिश करते हैं. ये इस तरफ से नजर आ रही है, इधर से हम जाने की कोशिश करते हैं.
He's all alone when a slow-moving shadow figure glides across the pillar without making a sound. It's not someone walking behind him either, because Nadim would already be blocking out the light himself. It's a real ghost sighting as far as I'm concerned. A paranormal entity, a moving shadow that deeply creeps him out and sends him on his way. Enough said. Muna Burzan bought this strange and creepy doll at an antique sale after she felt its eyes watching her. Now the doll apparently continues to do so as their connection grows stronger over time. Here you can see her pick up the doll to admire her. When the doll apparently comes to life, you can hear Muna cry out in surprise as the doll turns towards her and flutters its eyes. I have no idea how this could have happened, since both of her hands are nowhere near the doll's head when it turns to face her. When she puts the doll back down, it seems to understand that she is done playing and thoughtfully turns its gaze outside the window. A YouTuber named Run Gun Griff is a drone enthusiast who explores a lot of exotic locations on his channel. Most of his videos are taken on tropical islands, but this one was shot at a hard-to-find rural spot that he simply describes as being in the middle of nowhere. As his drone flies high, you can see that Run Gun Griff and his friend are standing in the middle of a huge field of crops that's covered in a series of strange markings. The symbols themselves are perfectly symmetrical and extremely precise in their geometry. Their designs look strikingly identical and appear to have no noticeable differences, a sign that it was not made by humans. I suppose that it would be possible to do this with farm equipment, but farmers have little reason to vandalize their own field, and since there's absolutely no flaws in the design, I think that there's a strong possibility that this was made by something extraterrestrial. Let me know if you think that these crop circles are man-made or extraterrestrial in nature, and if you recognize any of these symbols from any literature, movie, or video games, then I'd definitely like to know where they are from. Most videos of unidentified flying object sightings are out of focus or simply blinking lights. This one is the opposite of that. The video shows a saucer-shaped flying object sitting in an open field near forest and mountains. You can see at least one figure outside the vehicle standing to its left. A close-up shown later in the footage reveals that the creature is the quintessential Martian, overly large cranium, long thin limbs and all. After the Martian returns inside, a launching sound is heard. As the vehicle's engine revs up, in an instant the saucer shoots straight upward. The suddenness of the launch causes the person holding the camera to drop the shot downward before racing away on foot. What would you do if you encountered this at the edge of the forest? I just know I wouldn't be sticking around to find out. I don't want to go to Mars just yet. This video of a Mississippi swamp creature is hard to see, but the payoff is worth it. Watch the circled area and tell me if you see movement or not.
Mom.
Baby!
Now here's the same area zoomed in. You can see something is behind the tree, a creature whose oversized arms extend down to the swamp. It straightens its back as it sees the camera and looks to the camera. It's hard to say if this really is a swamp creature, or just shadows cast from the leaves above. This is allegedly the swamp creature's face. If it was just a bit closer, we'd have enough detail to make a final decision. That looks like it could be the face of a creature, or just some tree bark to me. This man thought he'd get away with it, but he was sorely mistaken. Published by Reolink in July of 2019. The suspect is seen crossing a quiet road at night in June of 2019 at around 3 in the morning. As the vehicle approaches, he hurries across the road and hides under the front end of a parked truck in a driveway. After the vehicle passes, the dude rolls from under the truck and puts his hood on. He then tries to enter the truck because the door is unlocked. But before he can snatch any valuables, the car alarm goes off, undoubtedly waking up the whole neighborhood. And the would-be burglar flees across the street. I think we can all agree this attempt failed miserably. This man approaches a home, stands in place for 10 seconds without ringing or knocking, and then decides to rip the doorbell cam straight out of the wall for good measure. Notice how he pulls up his sleeves over his hands before doing so. Obviously, he is worried about leaving fingerprints, so he probably does stuff like this all of the time. My guess is that he wanted to get into the house when he noticed the doorbell cam and got scared. He probably thought that by taking the doorbell cam, he would get rid of any evidence that he was ever there, completely unaware that a live video gets sent straight to the person's phone automatically. This video was posted in November of 2018. So far, he has not been caught, but since the doorbell cams have a serial number, he can't resell it easily without getting busted. All of the other rooms of this abandoned church on Long Island look normal, yet the chandeliers on the middle floor are going crazy. Jay Brannon claims to have seen shadow figures all over this video too, so be sure to tell me if you happen to see them. Just the fact that he isn't willing to go inside at all shows exactly how creepy this situation really must have been. The lights continue to go on and off. For some reason, at the 3-minute, 35-second mark, they seem to get even more intense, almost like they are feeding off his mortal energy just from standing so near. He returns the next day to prove that this church really was abandoned and no longer in service. After all, no active church would leave their courtyard in such a state of disarray. But that's not all. Jay Brennan did some major research on this church and discovered that it had 3 separate fires and was struck by lightning twice. He provides the links in the description of the video so you can read them for yourself. Maybe these flickering lights were caused by one of the spirits from the cemetery next door. A ghost hunting channel in Portugal called Supernatural Persecution is attempting to solve an unexplained mystery that's been haunting locals for years. According to legend, this haunted place in the dark, creepy woods is where a bride-to-be once threw herself onto train tracks after discovering her fiancé was unfaithful. Ghost sightings have occurred ever since, and few dare to explore here because so much has already gone wrong. While walking down the long forgotten path, flanked by scary woods on both sides, they think they hear something.
Leonardo, tá vendo alguma coisa? Vai. Leonardo, tá vendo alguma coisa? Vai.
Scary voices and other weird noises from within the haunted woods. The ghost bride is near. As the ghost hunters squint into the darkness,
Leonardo do céu! Olha o vulto branco lá, ó! Passando atrás de você, cara!
A mysterious figure, an apparition, crosses their path and leaves them absolutely terrified. The possible sighting of a ghost wearing a white bridal gown, well, creepy, could also be someone in black clothes holding a white sheet over their head to create the illusion of a long flowing headdress. It's too far away to tell for sure. Likewise, this alleged ghost voice sounds more like one of their friends, rather than something supernatural wailing in anguish. But even though I'm not fully convinced, this paranormal evidence has thousands convinced that it's real, so maybe I'm wrong. Okay, think of this scary video as a what would you do type situation. A woman named Letitia Patterson is walking back to her car when a strange man who is acting beyond creepy in my opinion begins to follow her. She lets him know that he's caught on camera, and the video gets more outrageous from there.
Hold on, I'm about to record you because if something happened to me, they gonna have you on camera.
That's right.
Somebody come get their family member.
That's right.
Following me.
I think capturing his weird behavior on tape is the right move, but showing him where she parked is not the safest decision. She could have walked away to get help, but I guess she felt like she was going to take control of the scary moment, and so she overcomes her fears and confronts the stranger, getting more bizarre video on camera for us to analyze.
Yep, bye. You're not getting in my car.
The strange man attempts to get her to laugh it off, playing off his aggression as harmless flirting, but he is not respecting her boundaries, which to me is beyond creepy, and a major warning sign that she should get away fast. He follows around her car for a bit, and then he's standing by her door, when the creepy encounter takes another bizarre turn.
I don't even know you.
Hey, delete that camera. I'll grab that phone from you. Break.
Look.
Take down camera, please.
Well, can you get away from my car?
Yeah, but delete that recording.
I'll delete it as soon as I see you start walking that way.
But the mysterious man walks towards her instead, closer than ever as you can see at 1 minute and 27 seconds, and she realizes by now that he isn't going away, and that this scary moment could escalate if she doesn't get help.
Hey, y'all call 911. This guy just followed me around the store.
I think asking a stranger to call 911 was the right decision, because he could have taken the phone out of her hands if she stopped recording him. The camera is a good deterrent, and also she needs to continue to record evidence. Police investigators haven't found him yet as far as I know, but check this part out. I think he says his name here at 7 seconds. She's talking at the same time, but tell me if you can understand what he says.
They gonna have you on camera. Somebody come get their family member.
At least one other woman claims to have had a similar creepy experience with a scary stranger, so the evidence seems to suggest that he could be terrifying people just for fun. Freaky, right? It looks like zombies want to get out of bed every once in a while. Published to YouTube in October of 2011 by Underwater Ireland, this YouTuber sets out into a purportedly haunted graveyard in Ireland. The cemetery is innately creepy, with trees growing into steeple-like coverage as she enters. After exploring a bit, she sets up a camera to film overnight. What she manages to capture on film will send a chill down your spine. The gate opens in the middle of the night, no one is there. It doesn't appear to be windy. Then something flashes on the screen, it's hard to make out. As some in the comments point out, if you watch the clip in slow motion, you can see a ghostly demon face. It is quite clear if you manage to pause it at the right moment. Some say it looks like a skeletal hand, others a white orb spirit. What do you think it could be? Is this the zombie outbreak we've all been waiting for? Only one way to find out for sure. A YouTuber named Crossover likes to play basketball, but we all know that's not why he's on this list. He lives in a house on the edge of some woods that are known to be haunted, at least if you believe what's about to happen to him next. Crossover goes inside of his dad's workshop to talk more about his plans for the channel.
You know, I have had channels in the past, but you know, I kind of scrapped them. They were a little bit weird, and I don't even know what got.
And behind him, one of his dad's tools rolls off the shelf. Crossover wonders how the object moves all by itself.
Get over here.
And a scary voice tells Crossover to come back as soon as he goes off camera. He thinks this is a ghost EVP because he says he was in the workshop alone. However, the voice could have been edited, and someone could have been hiding under the shelf to make the object look like it was pushed by a ghost. What is this blue sphere spinning in the sky? Shared by YouTuber Arte Morbid, this video was captured by Juanito Juan in Valle Hermoso, Mexico. The footage was taken at around 2:30 in the morning. Up close, the unidentified flying object looks like this.
I got matter for you.
When?
It was drifting over this man's house for around 30 minutes before it vanished. It certainly doesn't look like anything identifiable to me, but is it extraterrestrial? I do think the increased activity in this area might indicate something mysterious is going on. This video comes from a nature trail that is rumored to be the burial spot of a prominent Native American leader who passed on hundreds of years ago. The first 30 seconds don't catch much activity, but when the weather spontaneously changes and the whole scene becomes very different indeed.
I see something in the back. See all the orbs? Look at this.
A soft rain falls and dozens of fast-moving orbs dart back and forth from all angles. At first I thought it was a swarm of gnats, but some of the orbs look way too big to be an insect, and some disappear in the mid-air. It likewise can't be raindrops because the orbs come down from all sides, and even from the bottom of the screen at times. To make things even stranger, a child soon perceives movements in the distance. Soon after, the wind picks up, and it almost looks like an invisible presence is walking down through the foliage in the exact same spot that the kid thought he saw something.
There's something moving. See it? No.
Hospitals are incredibly haunted places. Posted to YouTube in September of 2019, HRJ Paranormal Adventures navigates this hospital. Situated at the foothills of the South Pittsburgh Mountain, the 68,000 square foot hospital was founded in 1959, but the haunting may date back to well before it was built. Unlike Penhurst, there are no reports of mistreatment at this hospital during its operation, but there were reports by hospital employees of paranormal activity such as inanimate objects moving of their own accord, disembodied voices, and dark shadowy figures, including a 7-foot-tall man on the 3rd floor, who is believed to be a former surgeon who practiced at the facility. He's not the only one haunting the 3rd floor. A toddler spirit and an elderly woman have both been observed there. 2 other spirits, a janitor and a female spirit, known as the Naughty Nurse, haunt the basement. This has drawn many paranormal investigators to the hospital since it closed in 1998. HRJ Paranormal Adventures manages to capture a few paranormal entities in this video. One is a ghostly reflection that appears twice at 3 minutes 53 seconds, and then again at 3 minutes 58 seconds. Follow the crew on their hour-long investigation of this haunted place, and you might just capture a few more spirit sightings and disembodied voices. A YouTuber named Shanen Sarmi is excited to travel to California, but far less enthusiastic about her flight, specifically her window, which is not sitting in place and makes this unsettling noise.
We're going through the window and I didn't tell anyone.
By the time she lands, the first of the 2 layers of glass has slid down enough to poke her finger through. It looks like she is sticking her hand out of the plane, but she actually isn't. There is one more layer of glass that is hard to see, but still the thickness of the window is now halved. She notices something was wrong with her window during the flight, but did not tell anyone until the very end, not wanting to cause a panic. I see where she is coming from, and she might have just been too shy and scared to speak up, but I personally think she should have said something, because they might have needed to make an emergency landing to fix it. She was trying to keep everyone calm by not telling, but looking at the condition of the window, I think it could have put everyone's lives in danger, but above all else, I'm just glad that she and everyone else was okay. A man is in a Mexican graveyard at 1:28 in the morning to see if a local legend about a crying girl is true. He has been waiting around for a while and is about to leave when suddenly he hears someone sobbing and sees a girl kneeling in the distance. He calls out to see if she is okay.
Amiga! Niña!
I think it's strange that he would go to the graveyard all by himself, but then again, he probably didn't think anything would really happen, or maybe he couldn't find anyone brave enough to go with him. Either way, if he had more witnesses or a better camera, then I would be more inclined to believe this video was legit. Franco TV is one of the few ghost hunters I've come across who isn't afraid to investigate solo. In fact, he prefers it. Charging into the middle of the action and staying put is his style. Rarely does he run. On September 7th, 2018, Franco TV goes to an abandoned house that's way out in the Florida forest. I can't tell you the exact location, but I can tell you the name, the Edison house. What's inside leaves him a sweat-soaked mess. The address is so secret that he had to track down some of the previous owners to find it, and since no one can stand living here for more than a few months, there were plenty of previous owners to choose from. It was accidentally built over a gravesite according to them, and that's all they will say because it's so cursed that just talking about it could possibly bring about years of misfortune. None of this concerns Franco enough to keep him from going inside. Through the condemned door is a trashed interior that fills the investigator with the type of dread that burns stronger with every step. Everything about it feels off and wrong in a way he can't explain.
So weird.
Past a crumbling kitchen is a small kid's room that feels colder than the rest of the house, and as he's reading but not adhering to the simple instructions on the wall,
Get out.
he hears the giggle of a child. The laughter comes from behind him, practically in his ear, and he turns against a wall with a mysterious red stain that looks like it squirted out of someone's neck. Across from him, this witch-like face appears against the window. It's most visible at approximately 3 minutes and 12 seconds, eyes and all. Undeterred, He goes to where it was standing and looks inside the room he was just in. As he's doing this, the same face now regards him through a crack in the doorway at 3 minutes and 40 seconds. It doesn't look like it's part of the door, but I guess it could be. The upstairs is cramped and uncomfortably hot. Down the hall is a red handprint that could belong to a child, except it's too high up on the wall. Perhaps they were struggling with someone trying not to be carried into this room. As Franco stares into the room, dozens of comments point out this figure staring back out at him from within the closet, just like the far wall says. I couldn't really see anything at first, but when I did, I suddenly wished I didn't try so hard. Something's there. Franco doesn't spend much time in this room because he gets an especially bad feeling, but one thing I noticed was this jet black spirit orb float up towards him and disappear. That's not a bug. The anxiety he gets from the second floor is a little too much, even for him, and look what happens when he goes back downstairs.
I'm hearing all sorts of noises everywhere, and I don't have no cover at all, and I'm in the middle of the forest. So, that's kind of like one of the reasons why it's going to be a little bit weird for me, because I can't deal with that.
This just so happens to be one of the only times he films behind him, so maybe this part is set up. Anyway, this was back when a supernatural challenge called Charlie Charlie was popular, and so he decides to play around before calling it quits. He sets up 2 pencils and waits for the ghost to respond.
Is there anyone in this house right now? Is there anyone that's
I don't know about you, but I see no string.
Do you wish me to leave this area?
A closer look under the light at 9 minutes and 17 seconds shows that nothing is tied around the pencil at all. He follows its advice and goes outside. By now, Franco is soaked in sweat and still hearing movements that I don't think he's making up because they sound too far away, deeper in the forest.
And from there? From there, I'm gonna head home. After that, I'm done. I gotta get out of here.
Part of him wants to leave, but he knows he has to explore the surrounding property because it's where more spirits roam around their unmarked graves. While staring out into the wilderness, he hears them.
What the is that?
It's not traffic because there's no roads out here, and exactly 2 seconds later it's accompanied by a voice warning him never to return.
Holy
Advice that Franco TV decides to take as he walks away from the Edison house with the blank, horrified stare of a man who has been shown far too much. A man steps out of his sandals before going into the house for a bit. Well gone. To his amazement, his shoes are caught on a home security camera moving on their own. The movements are subtle at first, but soon it becomes clear that his footwear is going for a walk by itself. I thought maybe he was using a string under the front door, but it can't be that explanation because the sandals actually move away from the door. I think this video might be edited because there's always a loading icon. Shortly before the sandals move, maybe they are secretly pausing the video to move the objects themselves and then recording again. I honestly don't know enough about this particular security camera to know for sure, so if you have this model then let me know if my instincts are correct. If you're going to cage a phantom, you're going to need a bigger door. Hosted by Wo Cuyahoga. This footage shows you can't keep a ghost locked up. The hunters are holding an EMF meter toward a locked set of doors. After a moment, something pounds against the door and then rattles it, trying to get out. I'm not sure what the context of this video is, but one thing's certain. Whatever's inside is not staying there. A large rat finds itself trapped in what looks to be the corner of a kitchen. It appears to be at the mercy of the man recording, who, to be fair, seems to want to cause it no harm to begin with. But as Marcus Goodiron zooms out, you can see to your horror that this is not in a kitchen at all, nor is it on the floor. I guess a large rat climbing your wall isn't exactly the happiest of endings, but it is most definitely unexpected, not to mention a good reason to give the walls a good scrub down. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Master Allen73, this Redditor wrote, "Me and my girlfriend are asleep at 3:55 a.m. when the door closes on its own. There is a door stopper holding it in place. I'm always very skeptical of the paranormal and other footage I have captured, but this one..." Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about. There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. ASAP Rab wrote, "I'm sure you've noticed, but just after 31 seconds, there's some kind of particle or orb going straight up near the bathroom entrance. Creepy footage." And the uploader replied saying, "Honestly, I had not noticed it. I'd been concentrating on the door looking for shadows." While TCG Games wrote, "How many days do you wake up and your door is closed? Was the heater or the air conditioner on? Has this happened in the past?" And the uploader replied saying no, this was the first time in 8 months. With or without the AC running, it's never closed on its own. Can you think of any other explanation for this footage? I think there's a good chance there's a ghost also in this bedroom. The Loch Ness Monster has a cousin in Minnesota. Captured on camera by Mitch Rosso, this scary video is enough to keep you out of Minnesota's 10,000 lakes. Watch closely.
There's one other type of right around.
It looks just like the famed footage of the Loch Ness Monster, blurriness and all. It's hard to tell if this is the real deal, but I want to believe. Forests at night are innately creepy, but this one just got creepier. Published in October of 2006 by The Ghost Hunter, she writes, "What appears to be a spirit moving amongst the trees in this surveillance video, taken by amateur ghost hunters. The footage shows a ghostly, transparent figure moving through the trees from the right side of the shot to the left, gliding amongst the trees. It then vanishes into the darkness. Many in the comments suggest the ghost is too tall and thus this video must be fake, but Ghost Hunter writes, despite comments on this, I would approximate that the apparition is about 6 feet tall, as the tree on the right is about 20 feet. What do you think this figure is? If not a ghost, then what? One thing's for sure, it's definitely something you should keep the lights on for. Will you expect to find some creepy stuff in an abandoned funeral home? Abandoned remains are probably not among the usual suspects. Published to YouTube by RNK All Day in March of 2020, the channel writes, "We found ashes inside an abandoned funeral home that was condemned due to the funeral director leaving and hiding bodies. It was located in North Carolina. It was closed down in 2012 after client complaints. The funeral home's former owner was put behind bars for not burying the individuals." RNK All Day explores this home and its unnerving history. Amongst the creepy things found inside are Polaroids of the passed on individuals and a squatter's bed made up inside the building. But of course, the most unsettling thing they encountered was a bag of ashes in a torn cardboard box. According to a timestamp on the box, they were from 1995, meaning they've remained there for over 2 decades. Let's hope they finally received a proper burial. A car sees a ghost on the side of the road and pulls over to record. They see nothing but darkness, so they slowly inch forward, scared yet certain something paranormal lies ahead. Looks like they were right. They've caught a ghost sighting in their headlights, but not for long as the figure disappears into the night. Suddenly, they are no longer curious about what they saw and only want to get out of there fast. The figure is much taller than the average person and towers over their car. Something tells me they aren't the first travelers to witness this roadside phantom, and they are also probably far from the last for that matter. This hauntingly scary video was taken during a ceremony in the desert of Saudi Arabia. Look closely or you'll miss the scary stuff. First, pay attention to how the flames bend without any wind. Any gust of wind blowing the flames this hard should be kicking up sand and moving the branches of the nearby bush, but it's not. Then, after 16 seconds, a bizarre phantom apparition begins to materialize in the circled area. What's beyond creepy is this scary face that appears at 18 seconds and never fully goes away. A still image taken at 19 seconds reveals a floating face with a big nose and strong chin. Freaky, right? Or maybe it's just a lens flare from the flames. Still, the timing is a little bit too coincidental to not at least briefly consider the paranormal. A very similar sounding shriek to the so-called cougar. This one claims the sound is coming from none other than a monster from traditional Latin America folklore known as La Llorona. According to legend, La Llorona was the unloved mother of her 2 sons. Her husband loved his sons more than her and also had an affair with another woman, causing La Llorona to break. She is said to have taken the lives of her 2 boys in a river in a rage, following them in grief by taking her own alongside their bodies. Now she wanders the earth in search of the souls of her sons. The terrifying wailing of her grief is heard throughout Latin America. Those who hear her cries are said to face misfortune or even have their lives taken, so maybe just to be on the safe side, turn down the volume for this one. Published to YouTube in September of 2018, the horrifying demonic scream at the start of the video definitely doesn't sound human. In fact, it makes you want to urge whoever is filming to get someplace safe, fast. Instead, he films outside on the rain-filled streets at night, as La Llorona screeches demonically in an animalistic cry. Shortly after, a more human-like woman's weeping is heard. The man approaches the phantom voice in the darkness. It's difficult to make out a figure in all this, but he speaks to her, and she responds, which makes one think this is a real human woman making these sounds, not La Llorona after all.
¿Tienes dulce? ¿Tu esposa?
After a while of the man chatting back and forth with her, and then answering his radio, the woman falls silent. Barry in the comments says, I understand Spanish. She seems to have multiple personalities. Was that inhuman sound made by a human person? Someone with multiple personalities? Perhaps someone possessed? Or is this La Llorona in the flesh? Is this house haunted by a sweet little grandma? YouTuber Dennis of Dark Ghost Paranormal thinks maybe she's not so sweet. He quickly gets a reading on his K2 meter. And soon he doesn't need a K2 to detect this granny's energy. She starts making lots of noise off screen. Before long, she gets physical. It seems she has a message for Dennis. Something rattles inside the wardrobe. Dennis can't get away from it fast enough, and later it happens again. Grandma is all around him. He hears a whining sound. But at least this is just a cat. But later he feels like someone is watching him. And it seems that he is right.
Друзья, я думаю, что мне срочно нужно отсюда сейчас уходить.
Because this happens. And just when you think this wardrobe can't take any more, what does this grandma spirit want from poor Dennis? Maybe a change of clothing? I don't know the answer. That's probably why this is just yet another question that's puzzling the world. This scary video clip captured not just one misty spirit miraculously floating atop the water, but a second emerging from below. Posted to TikTok by Horror Talk, the apparition gracefully glides on the water's surface, only for his brother's head to appear, materializing from the same point in the water. It grows upwards, but we're left to wonder where the pair of spirits wandered off to, and from where they came. Some in the comments think this is a weather balloon, others say it's La Llorona, the weeping woman who roams the waterfront. What do you think it could be? How would you feel if your CCTV camera caught this? Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Relevant Hole 5903. This footage of a woman in white was caught on camera in the dark of night. It shows a ghostly figure in white crossing the grounds outside of a gated building with barbed wire fixed to the top. The stranger walks slowly in her flowing dress until she leaves the camera's sight. Some are suggesting this is a classic walk of shame, others think the Redditor lives next to some shady stuff, but some are sure it's the legendary La Llorona. If it is, stay clear of water, because the legend goes that she would take your life in the water. Redditor Blues Forever 67 writes, "This is one of those instances where I think, what if we see ghosts all the time, but they're so vivid that we just think they're people?" I have to agree with that statement. My mind has been blown by this footage. An entity known as Zeppelin appears to the YouTube team Calle Investiga Cazadores Gilendas on this road of entities, and it happens when they least expect it.
Bom.
Mano, ali, ó.
É ele, cara, é ele.
Né?
Apareceu ali, ó. Caramba, velho. Ele apareceu pra gente, mano.
The figure in black stands still as a statue by their vehicle along the road. It raises a hand and then seemingly disappears.
Duas vezes o carro.
Ele falou carro. Ó, mano, ele sumiu, velho.
Mano, sumiu do nada, cara.
E ele falou que... Caramba, velho. E ele falou que ela...
While the cut in the video seems suspect, I can't say for sure if this was staged. But if not, he seems to be gesturing at them to follow, and if I were in their shoes, I'd be wary. The UK has its own version of the Amityville house, and Moxley's paranormal world is here to investigate it. Upon entering, Moxley immediately gets the creeps.
It just looks like something out of a classical.
In one of the rooms, a number of their devices are triggered.
Getting some spikes there. Do you not like us? Not like me sitting on the bed? Wait, it's going mad. Never put it down. Right.
Moxley notes an anomaly in this doorway, but I'm more interested in the whispers that I hear while he's talking at this moment. Listen closely.
Well, if I was you at first.
I move and I feel somebody's right there with me. I mean, I swear to you, I feel like somebody's here. And then I hear shuffling then. Pants shuffle.
Yeah.
Was it one of the other guys talking under him? But perhaps the most chilling occurrence during this investigation is what happens next.
What the hell is that? What the fuck is that?
Shh. Mate, that's down here. That's down here.
The guys search downstairs for the source of the scream, but find it empty. They decide to leave. I think that's the best thing they could do. That scream was terrifying, and who knows if it's real, or something trying to lure them in. During a thunderstorm over Barcelona, an unidentified flying object popped in for a visit. Shared by Redditor Little Space Moshi, this large unidentified flying object left its blinkers on. The unidentified flying object appears unmoved by the lightning. The large saucer just hovers there, leaving many concerned, but don't be alarmed. While it may be fake, I think that a CGI artist should earn an Oscar for this one. This Uber passenger looks like a relatively regular person at first, until he reveals a rather unsettling tendency.
Oh! God.
He reaches to his face and gently presses both eyes out of the socket. The right eye protrudes way more than the left and looks ready to burst and roll down his cheek at any moment. I can't imagine that doing this would be good for your eyes at all, and I hope he doesn't cause long-term health problems. But for now, he has definitely succeeded in creating a video to creep out you and me both. We've all encountered a Karen or two in our lives, but it's a rare occasion that we're faced with a Karen this far out of control. A ballistic individual was captured on video standing in the middle of an intersection, facing a bus, screaming at the top of her lungs. It's unclear what she's saying and why she's so angry. But what's become clear is that she's chosen to take her rage out on the bus. She targets the front window with her fist, shattering the glass. When she moves to the side door, what she's screaming is finally audible. She's telling someone to get off the bus.
She's there all right.
Oh
But whoever it is she's screaming at does not get off the bus, so she runs across the street, likely in order to escape prosecution for the damage done to public property. No further information could be found on this incident, so it's unknown what preceded the meltdown or followed it, if it was provoked, or why it escalated to this degree. Regardless, it seems like this went from 0 to 100 pretty quickly. This YouTuber is exploring a scary abandoned place in India when their adventure goes wrong at 6 minutes and 30 seconds.
நம்ம ஓபன் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்க டைம்ல நம்ம விக்கி கிட்ட கேட்போம். விக்கி விக்கி வாங்க.
It looks like a real ghost sighting at first, but somebody walks right in front of a light, so that could be what's making the shadow figure appear. Still, it's bizarre enough to make them leave, and when they look back, they see a ghost in the window. The light passes by the window one time, doubles back, and there it is, another ghost sighting. Look again though, and you'll see it was actually standing in the window the entire time. This could be a shadow person, a jinn, or one of their friends wearing a cloak. They claim it was a ghost, but I'm not sure. After setting up a camera in her home, YouTuber Kathy Nito turns out the light, and what comes after just might be a ghost. Watch for the white thing once Kathy is distracted.
Oh, turtle done.
Do you see that? Kathy believes this is a ghost. Well, I don't think it's a bug, as it appears to be too large and chaotic to be an insect. I'm not sure if my first thought would jump to the paranormal. It looks more like a spider web or some other flying debris to me. Still, whatever it is, it's creepy. Do you have any ideas as to what this could be? A YouTuber named Nellis is exploring a haunted mansion in Bosnia where many people lost their lives during a dark chapter of their nation's history. Active minds dot the surrounding woods, so they have to head straight inside. One of the first things they see is what they think are belts hanging from the ceiling that people could have looped around their neck, though I think they could have been hooks from hanging lamps.
And there's them belts again. Look up there, there's them belts. Do people hang themselves? There's definitely people here. I think they're sat around there.
We see them again up close for a couple of minutes later, and they aren't belts at all. But I still don't know what they were used for. But wait, forget about the ceiling. Look at what's hanging against the wall. Going back to the first clip I mentioned earlier, it seems it was there all along. The Unliving appears in this live stream, posted to TikTok by Luckman and Jay. A pair of guys are speaking to the camera, when behind them something mysterious photobombs their live stream. The robed figure over the young man's shoulder sports a dark face and a head covering. The boy moves in front of it for a moment, blocking the mysterious being from view. He then moves forward again and the figure has vanished. What is this thing? It almost looks like a statue of the Virgin Mary. But then again, where did it disappear to? I guess we're left with more questions than answers for this video. This Jinn has a sense of humor. Published by Hassan Barbar in May of 2022, the paranormal explorer is in this abandoned place when a Jinn alerts him to his presence, yet he does not appear, as the unseen makes more noise.
Bismillah.
Hassan follows the sound, then the thing starts to laugh. Or is this a laugh?
طب إذا أنت هون تعال طلع خش تحب هاليوم جابنا.
The noise continues, leading him around this empty maze. Soon it sounds like it's breaking something apart, and then that unnerving laughter again.
هون مكان كبير بصدر الصوت من هون أو من هون مش عارف.
Where is it coming from? The Jinn speaks to him, but what does he want? We may never know.
اطلع. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق.
A man records his pet cat studying its reflection in a mirror for the very first time. The animal is fascinated, and over again, it tests the reflection by cautiously putting one paw in front of the other, almost as if it doesn't completely trust what it is seeing. Now satisfied that this mirror image is no threat, the cat settles down and looks behind for one moment, but as it turns out, its initial instincts were right all along. If you didn't catch it, the cat's reflection does not match the cat's own movements. So what do you think? Was this special effects or a once-in-a-lifetime moment caught on video? I'm convinced that house is haunted, since it looks too realistic to be done by amateur video editing. Christian Garcia and a couple of his friends are riding around on a motorcycle late at night through the streets of Mexico and are enjoying their night when suddenly they come across something absolutely terrifying and startling on the road. Right here. This seems to just be a really sort of like isolated road in the middle of nowhere. It's clearly nighttime, and this individual is just sitting out here staring off into the distance. I wish they would have asked if they needed help. Instead, just sort of take off. But I guess they do decide they should turn around, which is the right thing to do, so respect to these guys.
Hola, señora. ¿Qué dice? ¿Eh? ¿Quién es? ¿Qué le pasa? ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Cómo se llama? Está en medio de la nada, ¿no? ¿Le pasa algo?
If anybody who speaks Spanish could please translate what was said in this conversation, but I assume they were asking if they were all right, to which they get no response from the stranger, and I think eventually just decide, yes, to just take off.
¿Le pasa algo?
Even when Christian and his friends drive back to where the mysterious stranger is sitting down on the side of the road, doesn't really seem as though they are trying to talk to her too much, and I guess it makes sense because she is a complete stranger, and you never know exactly what a stranger is capable of. I just hope this person is okay and isn't suffering from any problems, but if they are, I hope they will be okay in due time. Urban explorers Stacy and Cliff are exploring the abandoned Bryce Hospital, an Alabama asylum that is haunted as can be. Little do they know a shadow person is following them all the while and can be seen caught on video multiple times. When they first enter the building, a paranormal presence compels Stacy to not only look to her left, but to call out as well.
Hello?
A partially hidden shadow figure stands in the doorway. As soon as she says hello, the screen blurs like movement is near. She feels the need to look again, but this time the mysterious shadow figure is gone. On a different floor, they see a strange passing shadow move across the doorway, though this bizarre movement could simply be a trick of the light and not necessarily paranormal. With that said, a few minutes later is when they see the shadow figure one final time, a ghost in the doorway watching them without a word, and as Stacy turns around, the shadowy figure smooths out and mysteriously disappears. They finish exploring the hospital without another mysterious figure sighting. Passengers are boarding this airplane in Thailand, but how is this possible when the entrance is disconnected from the airport? Are these people or spirits? You decide. As a counterpoint, someone pointed out that there could have been a second entrance here, on the other side. The people could be traveling in an L-shaped tunnel, but since we can't confirm it from this angle, both explanations are plausible. A YouTuber named Yams is hanging out with his friend Bryson when they suddenly suspect that they saw something bizarre off in the woods located near Yam's house. When they took out their phone, they were able to take a picture of the strange phenomena in question, but they want to see if they can find it one more time, and this time in person, So they split up and go 2 separate ways in order to see if they can track down whatever it is they saw. Even still, I don't think they knew that this was going to happen.
What was that?
Right there. So I just want you to focus your attention. Upper left corner of the screen. There's clearly somebody walking in the woods here. Right there. And I think this is actually a case of just a complete stranger just sort of wandering around in the woods here. But this also seems to kind of be a bit of a residential area, and there doesn't look to be, maybe there's a pathway right here, but they look to be walking directly in the tree line here. Almost like they're trying to stay out of sight, but it certainly terrified this YouTuber. Out of the corner of his eye, one of the friends sees the creature in question lurking around the forest and begins to run away from the scene immediately and starts to call out his friend's name in order to find him and regroup. Luckily, just a few moments later, the 2 friends are back together, and the one filming informs the other that he believes he was able to capture the creature on film. However, some people in the comments have questioned this video's authenticity, stating that just a few seconds before the footage cuts off, you can see a long black object laying on the ground, which some people say is a costume. Then again, it could have just been something completely unrelated, but you never know. Either way, fake or not, this is one creepy video you won't want to watch late at night. Here's another strange surveillance tape out of Singapore. This time at an apartment building in Tampines. Most of the orb videos I've seen in the past could be explained away as a piece of dust, but this is clearly something way different. At first, I thought that this was someone playing with a high-powered flashlight, but then I realized 2 things. You can usually see a ray of light leading back to a person holding the flashlight, but there's no such thing here. Secondly, the orb appears to briefly switch to a gray color when it hits the wall. Watch this part of the video to see the colors change. That's not something an ordinary flashlight would do. If anyone can explain these 2 things to me, then I'll agree that it's fake. A man in Saudi Arabia films himself working outside when he almost gets seriously messed up. At first it looks like he simply loses his balance, but that's not what he claims, and it's not what the video evidence shows. He says something in the desert pulled on his leg, a supernatural force that wanted him to fall. Watch again and you'll see his leg does go backwards, but it doesn't go very high, so maybe he could be lifting it himself. So while this would be a creepy situation, it's hard to say if he's really telling the truth or making it up for attention. Judging from the comments, about 2/3 of the people who have watched this video worry it's real. Do you believe them? A mysterious creature sighted in the woods of Macleod, Illinois, has residents wondering if this video is real or fake. It looks fairly convincing upon first glance, but some parts are questionable, like how this looks more like a boot than a foot when it steps out at 22 seconds. At 23 seconds, it raises its back leg up high like a person would. I think if its legs were really that big, then its footsteps would be much heavier and closer to the ground, but maybe I'm wrong. This video was taken by a Redditor's father while they were walking around an old historic building. He claims to have been all alone in the room, and according to the Redditor, their father is a very serious man who doesn't lie about such things. So even though he is alone, he records someone standing next to him in the reflection of the case. They cross behind him and then suddenly are gone. And when he looked back at the video, he saw the arm and blue shirt of someone standing in front of him. I guess this video would be easy enough to stage. I don't think the Redditor would lie about something like this though. Perhaps if this historic building had CCTV, then we could possibly get another angle of this event to finally solve the mystery. Do you have the guts to spend a night in one of the most notoriously haunted houses in the world? YouTube team Ghost Trip Investigation does, and they prove it by passing a scary event in the Conjuring house. Inside, their paranormal devices quickly capture some readings.
Faulty, they don't just randomly go off. You can't clap, there's no remote. They have to physically
Can you now set that off again?
Physically sense movement, guys. Oh!
Shortly after, something is knocked down, but I failed to see what it is.
That was not Dan.
That's the first time Swimer's ever done it.
That was not Dan.
Mate, you've got to be literally touching it.
Oh, really? Yeah.
One of the devices is sensing energy, and it turns out to be strong.
Please, there's energy close.
It's not Dan. That is not Dan. That is
It won't let me get near it.
It won't let you get near it.
Using a spirit box, they ask the demon some questions.
That listed it.
It whispered it?
Yeah.
No, 1,000,000%.
Just let it play.
It said it.
It does sound like it says Conjuring there. Later, it's trying to get in.
Trying to get in. People, she said trying to get in. Trying to get in.
Okay. Here you go.
Open the door.
They go with the door.
Did they just open the door to a demon? They walk around outside, and for a moment, it sounds like someone is chasing them.
House.
Whoa!
What was it?
Something loud, mate.
Mate.
Back inside, they break out a Ouija board, and it only draws the spirits in closer.
Yeah. It's like the top of the table's twisting off its base.
The bear.
Shortly after, this happens.
Me, mate, I don't like this.
Slowly take one hand off, Dan. Slowly take one hand off.
Back off.
Did you capture that?
Wow.
Did you actually capture that?
This isn't funny.
Well, that last bit could be explained by an uneven table leg. I'm not so sure about the rest of it. I think this house has a reputation for a reason. A YouTuber named Dylan Richardson is teaching his dog how to speak when his creepy next-door neighbor, who is apparently annoyed by the barking dog, decides to stare at everyone through his window instead of knocking on the front door. The neighbor could have mental problems because he is looking into this home with no shirt on despite the cold weather. They chase him away, but he literally vanishes around the side of the house without a trace. No camera editing or anything. That's when Dylan's friend gets this idea. I guess this neighbor wanted to get frostbite more than he wanted to get caught. I don't know how he could possibly manage to perfectly burrow under the snow in 3 seconds without leaving any footprints behind. So I'm gonna say this creepy neighbor video, while strange and entertaining, is made up. Is this a time-traveling ghost? Posted by Tay Harley Quinn to the Chills Narrator subreddit. The Redditor's Ring camera caught something that made her look twice. The video clearly shows a car drive past, then behind it a transparent figure can be seen ghosting along after it. One Redditor has an explanation. Maybe the running person looks transparent because of the camera glitch or bad quality, he writes. He's fast, so I don't think that's a person at all. The Redditor responds that her camera is usually very clear, and she's never had a problem with it. Another commenter, Snorlax Lynn, tags onto the thread saying that the truck would have had a glitchy effect too, had it been a camera quality issue. Some suggest it's a spirit on a bike, others think it's the compression of footage quality, which tends to make images look somewhat transparent if they're small and far away. What do you think is going on here? It's time to investigate. While exploring this haunted place, this paranormal crew discovers that entities manifest in the mirrors. Published by Albert of the Arch, they search the home when they spy this. While the white object looks spooky at first, hanging there in the hallway when they approach, they find it's a piece of paper posted on a door. As they continue their search and discover a door to an attic above moving on its own.
Ok. Bueno, pero eso puede ser el viento. Está en un exterior, entonces se cuela el aire con eso.
Later, while they're all in one room, a shadow passes by a mirror in the adjacent room. No one is there. They don't know what to make of it.
Sabes que uno de los implementos que me gustan muchísimo para este tipo de lugares
Me gusta muchísimo para este tipo de... Me gusta muchísimo para este tipo de... Muchísimo para este tipo...
Not long after, while they're speaking over a statue of Jesus, a faint scream is heard in the background. Is that scream coming from the entity in the mirror? Sounds like it wants out.
Cuando estas energías vienen a la luz, ya no pueden salir. Se hace como una especie de lugar que los bloquease, ¿sabes?
When you're driving home exhausted at the end of the long day, stay conscious and keep your eyes peeled. You might just see this. This supernatural clip was posted in April of 2020, claiming it's a real sighting on a haunted roadside. So let's take a look and see for ourselves. The clip shows someone driving down a dirt road in the near darkness. As they turn a corner, a dark figure barely visible can be seen crossing the path. On closer inspection, the figure looks long-limbed and big-eyed with a strangely shaped skull. It crosses slowly before sitting down at the side of the road. If human, what is this strange behavior? If not, any theories as to what this creature might be? Whether paranormal or some earthly figure, running into this near dusk might be enough to end your life. Here's why you should never look down during a hailstorm.
Holy I felt the shockwave from that.
A bolt of lightning cracks across the brick wallway in front of him. I felt the shockwaves, he says as he runs inside, but in truth, he's lucky he didn't feel something a lot worse. The moral of this scary video, if there is one, is to never go outside during this kind of weather. No exceptions. Not even the doorstep is safe. If you find yourself being chased while in an abandoned building, the best step is to leave. Instead, this man found himself stalked into a corner. Published in November of 2021 by Paranormal My, demons instantly make their presence known in this creepy abandoned building. As the cameraman is gazing up at the multi-storied complex, glass is heard breaking off to the side. He goes to investigate but finds nothing. In the stairwell, another loud noise is heard up above. It's not clear where the noises are coming from, but it certainly makes the neon green lit stairwell even more ominous. As the night grows darker, something throws a bunch of torn up sheets from an upper floor. A creepy being dressed in white and with bleach white hair is seen above. It peers down at the cameraman for a moment but then pulls out of view. Who knows what this entity's intentions may be? Later, while in another dark stairwell, footsteps are heard down below ascending. The cameraman captures a shot of the lower floors, and a scary obscure shadow can be seen on the landings below, making its way upwards. The footsteps become louder and more rapid, giving everyone, except apparently the cameraman, the ultimate chills. As our hearts beat faster and faster, at last, there's a shot of the culprit. It looks like a man without a shirt, wearing white pants. He's holding a flashlight, though likely not paranormal. There's something even creepier about this scary stalker, because as we all know, running into a stranger can end up much worse than running into a ghost. A TikTok user named Caesar in MP is piloting a plane when he sees an oddly terrifying unknown flying object skimming the clouds. Just below, the tiny circular object appears to have no propellers and emits no exhaust. It looks like it's moving extremely fast, but keep in mind Caesar is passing it in his own aircraft, so its exact speed is unknown. A regular civilian drone could not move at this rate of speed, and its design looks more complex than a regular drone. So what do you think? Secret project? Or something from someplace much farther away than Earth? A Russian YouTuber plays Russian roulette with poltergeists in this paranormal footage. Published to YouTube by Dark Ghost in March of 2021, this poltergeist activity was captured by cameras installed in the haunted home, as well as cameras operated by the ghost hunter who was brave enough to enter. The first instance of paranormal activity comes when a camera that he installed in one room captures a cupboard being moved on its own. It scrapes across the floor and comes to a halt in the middle of the room. And after hearing the noise, the ghost hunter enters to see for himself. The room appears empty, but he soon realizes it's not. An entire wardrobe nearly falls directly on him. There is no space behind the wardrobe for someone to have stood and pushed it over. So what caused this heavy furniture to fall? In a state of shock, having barely escaped with his life, the ghost hunter sets up his spirit box to talk with the spirit. It asks him clear as day who he is and why he's here. The spirit tells him that it is dangerous. When he asks what is, she says his occupation. The spirit tells him that the souls of the passed away have heard him. She also notes that they're not all good ones. After a while, she refuses to answer any more questions. When the ghost hunter returns to the room where the cupboard moved and the wardrobe nearly took his life, everything has returned to its place. As he settles in for the night, somehow catching some shut-eye while stretched out on wooden chairs, a spot of light bursts above him, and he springs to his feet. He said that at that point he felt a bitter cold. Once you've nearly had your life taken and feel the temperature drop, it's probably time to pack it in and call it a night. This video of a shaky, alien-looking pod looks like it really shouldn't exist anywhere on planet Earth, let alone some random person's basement. The way it moves from left to right without being touched makes me think that some strange life form is about to burst forth. Most of the comments agree that this could be some sort of egg or cocoon with a foreign host inside. Note how strange furry hair seems to protrude from sections of its hardened exterior, further indicating that this is in fact a living organism of some kind. The video ends before we can see what hatches, but whatever it is, I just hope it isn't something that is harmful. When a jinn comes to play, it's generally gloves off. Published by Hassan Barbar in June of 2021. This scary video was filmed inside a not-so-abandoned building. The building alone is frightening, but when Hassan arrives at this room, it becomes more so. The jinn starts throwing things around, and when he enters, he gets pipes thrown at him. Things are being flung at all angles, so Hassan retreats into an adjacent room for safety, but the jinn won't let him hide out forever. It shoves something in the empty hole where a doorknob should be, and soon it bursts the door open. Hassan re-enters the haunted but now quiet room. As he continues around the building, the jinn gets angrier and angrier. This continues and doesn't let up. Eventually, he's had enough and goes to leave, but as he does, it appears he's pushed down the stairs by an invisible force. A lot of racket is heard afterward. It looks like a door was thrown down the stairs at him. Was this the jinn's doing? It looks like he's not playing at all. I think everyone should be staying far away from this place. The Haunted Hunters Lodge in the UK has hosted many paranormal investigators, and now YouTube team Moxley's Paranormal World is among those who dare to brave a visit. While inside the lodge, Mox sees something behind Amy at the window.
Look at yours there. Amy, something.
Oh, what, Marks? Please don't.
No. Honestly, something or someone was just stood at that window.
But when they look outside, there's no one there.
He killed us. They couldn't have been. I went to look at the K2, and there was a fate, like somebody was stood here. I thought somebody was gonna, like...
The spirits then tell the team their story via a paranormal device.
That's just mental.
There's more of us. I'm in the corner. Died a long time ago. Innocent. Please go right.
Rest.
It's dangerous. I died. He killed us. You're safe here. Violet, Andrea, let us rest.
Well, I didn't see what Mox saw in the window. The tail on the device sends chills down my spine. Maybe they should do as the spirits ask and just let them rest. Don't let Randonautica take you to just any random place, or you might live to regret it. This video is a prime example of why.
Alright, going randonauting, and it took us to this shady park in the middle of nowhere, so let's see what we find.
I came across it on a Vietnamese YouTube channel. After doing some digging, I was able to track down the original source to the TikTok account at Haley_AIG. Watch this next part closely. Did you see it? Something just peeked out from behind that tree, but that's not all. After the group crosses the bridge, they see the Nightmare Girl plain as day.
I think we have to go over this bridge, and our location's over down there. What the
That would be enough to make me abandon this Randonautica mission, which the team actually considers doing.
what the should we keep going?
But they don't, and then this happens.
Is she following us?
Although we can safely assume this is expertly composed fiction, that doesn't mean my soul didn't leave my body while watching this. These prisoners are locked up for life and the afterlife. YouTube team Explore a Lot explores the UK's most haunted prison. Listen quietly, they hear a distant whistle.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. What the was that?
Shortly after, while doing the Estes method, you can hear a whisper of a response. Listen closely.
Did you die in this room?
A quiet voice says yeah. It sounds to me like the immortal prisoners here are on lockdown for eternity. Is this spirit wheelchair bound? YouTuber Eduardo Alvarez shares this footage of a wheelchair that activated a house alarm. This isn't just some drifting wheelchair. It actively backs up and moves forward on its own. It even appears to sense barriers in its way. This also looks like an old wheelchair, not one with any automated control. I think we have a poltergeist on our hands, or at least a wheelchair-bound spirit. YouTube team Ghost Theory investigates the centuries-old mansion and care home, Uphill Grange in the UK. As they ask the spirits to show their presence, they almost instantly get a response.
That was pretty instant, if that was...
A few knocks, yeah?
Yeah, it was like glass.
And the knocks continue.
Did you hear the knock?
Yeah.
There was a knock.
Down a dark hallway, they hear another unexplained noise. It sounds like someone is there. On the stairs, they hear more thuds and bumps. While there was no obvious paranormal activity in this haunted mansion, I do feel something is here. The phantoms are creeping around the place, like they're in the walls. A YouTuber named RevoX encounters a wild pheasant in the graveyard that is not at all afraid. The colorful bird looks over its shoulder to make sure he is watching, and then takes the lead, guiding him someplace quite important that I'll reveal in just a moment. It hops off the road, and at 1 minute and 8 seconds, walks this little beaten trail of matted grass.
Have you ever seen anything like it before?
That's been trampled over many times before. The determined little bird stops and circles back to the human, again showing absolutely no signs of fear. It even looks straight at him, at the end like it knows what is being said.
There's my mum's grave, and it will remain, as it has done for the past few days, going round and round it.
So is this a real spirit guide or just a pet? Some Native Americans believed pheasants to be a sign of protection and concealment because they like to bury themselves in tall grass. A creepy behavior when taken within the context of a graveyard. They can be tamed, but even if this is a pet, I don't think you can teach it to lead you somewhere for over a minute, and I never see it get a food treat as a reward or anything, so I think it's real. A YouTuber named Jordan Bew is about to get some food with his brother Jeremy and some friends when he sees a tiny lizard hanging out by the pool. He doesn't want to hurt the little guy, so he takes it outside and goes to set it free, but it winds up taking a wrong turn.
Go get him. Get him, bud. Oh, he's in your hair. Oh, he's on your head. He's nuts.
Jordan's friend goes for the close-up, but accidentally scares it towards the safety of his hair. Only its tail is sticking out and then it's fully gone. They give it some time and let it resurface. It may have changed to the same color as his hair, and you can barely see it at this point. Finally, they scoop it out and set it free, but the lizard almost doubles back for another round and jumps on one of their shoes. Fortunately, it is not a repeat performance, and they are able to shoo it away. Recently, I've come across some YouTube channels showcasing these images of what appears to be the Statue of Liberty, moving her hand slightly to the right. It took me a long time, but I finally found the original video and can verify beyond all reasonable doubt that this giant moving statue video is edited. It is from a 2006 upload called The Statue of Liability, made by a computer animator named RODC 2006, who says in the description that it was made using a program called Blender 3D. So if you should ever happen to see these images somewhere online in the future, now you know it never happened and who originally made it. Props to RODC 2006 for being so good at editing that he continues to fool people so many years later. With a name like Forest of the Black Cross, this place is bound to experience some shady supernatural happenings. Captured and published to YouTube in July of 2021, the crew are filming at night in the dark and haunted forest, and what they encounter does appear to be supernatural. Something is disturbing the forest, and as they zero in on it, they spot the dreaded figure amongst the thick brush.
May nagwa coisa. Tá vendo, Che? Deus. Cadê, Che? Ele tá descendo. Ele ali. Olha meu Deus, cara.
The scary footage captures the face of a wild beast with glowing orange eyes, sharp features, and a gray tone. It looks unlike any other forest creature, and unlike any human figure at that. The crew rightly freaks out, and as a deep growl rumbles through the forest, they flee as fast as their legs will carry them. As they race away, howling is heard into the night.
Meu Deus! Vem, passa! Onde é que entra na porra?
Were they really faster than this werewolf, or did the wolf simply find other more alluring prey? Some videos have the power to keep us up all night long. As we're drifting off to sleep, they enter into our subconscious, making us sit bolt upright. The fear is real. The fright. This was posted to Reddit with the uploader writing, "My friend is security at the airport, and he saw this through the security cameras." The video shows an American Airlines desk with what appears to be a service door beside it. The airport looks empty. Perhaps the security footage was taken during closing hours. But if it's empty, what makes the door do this? The door swings open aggressively, with no one behind it. These types of doors are usually heavy and secure, and as AstralCath explains in the comments, are often locked or require a manual code to open, so it's unclear how wind or something natural might have burst the door open like this. So what could it be? Theories in the comments range from a ghost running late for a flight to unequal air pressure. Redditor Steve MageGod points out that there's a slight shadow change before the door flings open. So as usually happens, we've got those who think this is paranormal activity on one side, and the skeptics who suggest this could be readily explained on the other. Which side are you on? Dennis from Dark Life captures what can only be a demon in this abandoned house. After his lantern mysteriously shuts off, Dennis scrambles in the darkness.
Hey, Tickled.
Finally, he gets it turned back on.
Это походу его проделки.
He thinks the poltergeist is campaigning against him, so what next? The demon is in the adjacent room. He leaves for a moment, and when he returns, everything is on.
Хотел собирать вещи. И все включилось. Включилась камера, и включился этот свет.
Is the demon playing tricks on him?
Ну, в общем, все, друзья. На этом все. Всем спасибо за просмотр. Блин, у меня аж мурашки сейчас по коже, реально. Пипец. В отражении зеркала. Ой, зеркало, говорю, стекла.
Or is he standing there watching him? I can feel the demon's presence in this one, and I can't get that sound out of my head. Is your child seeing things, or is there something to her visions? Posted by Colin71514 to the Chills Narrators subreddit. This story and subsequent video will send chills down your spine. The Redditor explains that her story begins in December of 2018. The couple had bought their 4.5-year-old daughter a secondhand baby doll. Things were pretty normal until they weren't. After about 2 weeks, Colin's daughter started breaking things for no reason. Thinking it was just a phase, the parents didn't worry too much about it. The daughter then started wanting to sleep in their room, saying a little girl kept waking her up at 3 in the morning. This went on for 2 months until her father got an uneasy feeling about the doll and decided to throw it in a dumpster far away. This brings us to the video in question. The daughter is seen in the room playing on her table on the bed. She moves off the bed shouting for her dad, then looks up at the window beyond and starts to scream. The Redditor says her daughter claims she saw an old woman in the window. Exterior cameras didn't capture anything near their home. Considering the Redditor herself and her husband experienced odd things in this home as well, perhaps this is more than just a child's imagination. Colorado's 19th century Glendale stagecoach station and inn has seen many a wary traveler pass on through, and now it seems some of their spirits lay their heads here to rest. YouTube team Aiden's Escapades investigates this historic haunted way stop. While using a spirit box, Aiden receives some strange messages. And this. Someone is watching, and they need help. A while later, they plead again. Would you help these lost souls? I think it could all be a con, but I'd probably have to try. A YouTuber named Shannon Griffin recorded this short scene as part of an amateur film he was working on. One of his friends, Rachel, goes into the alley and the scene ends. It seems simple enough, but look at the bottom left for a weird surprise. This swaying shadow is not supposed to be part of the shot. Later, when Shannon was editing the footage, he was terrified by the strange discovery because nobody was standing off camera there. It's not a tree in the wind because these plants in the foreground don't move at all, while this shadow figure sways wildly. The only explanation I have, assuming that they are telling the truth to begin with, is maybe some nosy neighbor was watching them from a window and cast their shadow on the sidewalk below, but the way the shadow moves is so odd that I don't think this is it at all, so maybe it was paranormal. Two YouTube ghost investigating groups team up for this video, but they find something even worse instead.
Because you know for a fact that's going to catch everything down there.
It already looked bad when they first found it, but the flames are twice as wide and twice as tall by the time the authorities arrive on scene. They have to be diligent as they lift the rubble up to check for signs of flames in the middle. If they miss a single burning patch, this whole situation could happen again tonight. When the first responders leave, the team checks out what it was. Someone who was putting this entire forest at risk so they could burn trash. When they thought burning it was safer than dumping it is beyond me. They were either extremely foolish, didn't care, or were trying to do it on purpose. Perhaps all three. This person's spirit didn't stay in the ground. Published by Scary and Mysterious Stuff in January of 2022, this ghost hunter was walking along a road near an old graveyard at night when he spotted this. The ghostly figure could, of course, be a statue. It does seem to be standing abnormally still at first, then it clearly starts to move. Its long robe flows behind it as it strides forward. The cameraman comes closer and finds it kneeling before a grave, praying. When it turns to look at him, he shoots off like a light, running as fast as he can before his lights are out forever. Definitely the right call. A paranormal investigation channel called Ghosts of Britain think they've met their match while exploring one of the scariest haunted places in their corner of the world. An abandoned house with an unsettling atmosphere and more creepy things in it than you can imagine. On the table they find creepy pictures left behind by someone young. A family must have lived here. The drawing and the lone meat hook in the corner do not pair well. Somehow I doubt that it was used to hang plants. They lay down a motion detector next to a toy for whoever made the picture to play with.
We want to try and make sense out of this place. We want to know about its history.
It isn't long before someone takes them up on their creepy invitation, and that's when things get really scary even for a team of ghost hunters.
Bear's just gone. Did you see that? The bear was just pushed over. The bear was just pushed over. Do you know what? People are going to scream fake at this, you know?
They think no one will believe this ghost video is real, but I think it's possible. Their equipment reads out the word Brianna, and then the toy falls over like a paranormal entity trying to pick it up. If it was on a string, then the object should have fallen towards them, but it doesn't. It falls the opposite way. Perhaps the ghost of someone small is still trapped in this abandoned house, or at least that's what the evidence would suggest. What are you afraid of? What can really make you scream? This entry was submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit. The user explains that the clip was found on TikTok. Footage shows a guy sleeping at 1:16 in the morning with the text, "He snores so loud." According to the video, the next night is shown subsequently. This time, the man is sleeping in a very awkward position, with his arms up in the air. Even stranger, the drawer from the bedside table appears to open of its own accord. A short time later, the man is in a new position, and as he turns over, if you focus on the nightstand, a bottle slides strangely sideways, falling on the floor. The man appears to be suffering from some evil spirit being exorcised, as his body contorts aggressively on the bed.
I don't know, this guy's just being told. You want to shut the... Stop. Hey, what the f...
Whoever is taking the video leaves the room, and when he returns, the sleeping man is kneeling in the corner. What's going on here? It is suggested could just be night terrors. Others lean more towards the paranormal, however. They suggest the man is possessed. What do you think? Paranormal activity? Possession? It is certainly baffling, and I think we need more footage to fully solve this mystery. Redditor Wide Awake They Sleep's friend claims his house is haunted. He's been experiencing paranormal happenings here for a while, including lights turned on, open doors, and strange voices, so he set up a Nest camera to capture some evidence. This is what it captured. Not only did the camera somehow flip over, but you can see a creepy shadow appear on the staircase wall. Although some in the comments say the flip was in camera and that the black mist could be a rolling effect of exposure, I don't blame the guy for moving after experiencing a series of paranormal events like this. This was probably the last straw. It's not often you see a shooting star fly skyward. Redditor DJ Half shares this video captured in Miami, writing, "Shooting stars don't go up."
Only it came outside. The death. Goodbye. And the death. They're quite now. That is sweet.
Some of these flares don't look like shooting stars to me, but I'm not sure what they could be. Of course, commenters have some theories.
Outside. The death. Or I'm death. They're quite now. That is springing.
Well, these are great guesses. A now deleted Reddit account suggests that it could be caused by spinning spotlights from the Miami Heat versus Toronto Raptors game that happened on that day, reflected off low cloud cover. But the Redditor says this was taken from a traffic cam at around 4 or 5 a.m. at a distance about 5 miles away from that stadium. So, back to the drawing board on this one. I guess I'll go with upside down shooting stars. These ghost hunters in Texas capture a rare paranormal sighting on their night vision camera. I'm willing to bet you didn't see this on the first try, so I'll tell you where to look. Check out the grassy section and you'll see a small black ball cross the road. They don't see anything else for a while, and then the strange black dot comes back only to disappear again. I was thinking it could be some kind of wildlife until it literally vanishes from sight, which obviously no living creature should be able to do.
Are you aiming down the way? Something across the room. You see that little light thing, that reflector on the left?
A woman uses Snapchat to confront a ghost who has been haunting her house for 8 years.
Are you there? Oh, there you are.
I find it interesting that the ghost disappears when she lets out a startled gasp, almost as if the ghost is anxious too.
Don't be afraid. Come out.
The ghost appears whenever she says hi.
I'm a little frightened at the moment. I didn't expect this to work. Hi.
Then again, this kind of looks like a smile, so maybe it's just the Snapchat app glitching out and not a paranormal sighting after all. The paranormal boys experience crazy paranormal activity in this place frozen in time. As they're speaking to the spirits, they hear something.
Did you hear that?
That was definitely a knock. Later, using a spirit box app, they capture this. As they continue speaking, they're sent some terrifying messages.
If you're in this room, can you affect some of the devices we put down? Where are you, Tom? Was that Ben?
And then the spirits respond directly.
Copy this. You joking me? Did you hear that?
Still, it warns them.
Hey? Yeah, it's just sitting there to see if it... What was that? Dead.
There's someone upstairs.
You hear that up there? You hear that up there?
Since the team won't listen to the spirit's warnings, it takes matters into its own hands.
I thought you pushed my arm then. Something just... Jeffrey. Something just pushed my arm.
What pushed his arm? I think it was Jeffrey, but in the end, it could be any one of the demons haunting this place. This huge wall of security monitors shows that everything in this building is silent, and still except for a single sign going haywire. I've seen signs twisting around from the air conditioning before, but this looks a little different. The back and forth swaying seems very deliberate, almost as if an invisible force is hanging off of it. I don't have much more information about this video, aside from it taking place somewhere in Singapore. Let me know what you think of it. Daniel lives way out in the country, and rather than paying someone to remove the leaves around his house, he chooses to burn them instead. He stands at the edge of a controlled fire and takes this quick video.
Oh yeah, lots of fire. Oh yeah, lots of fire.
Off the distance, a two-legged creature about the same size as Daniel sprints away in the opposite direction as fast as it can. Keep in mind that Daniel lives out in the Oklahoma wilderness and has no neighbors. I really can't think of any forest animal that looks like this, so maybe the controlled burn accidentally flushed out a rare humanoid creature. With no other footage of the creature, we will probably never know what it truly is. A YouTuber named Joe Hall takes to the streets in search of the supposedly supernatural, black-eyed ghost children who come out at 3 a.m. This trek eventually turns into a long walk along the railroad tracks in the middle of the night. They are just about to give up when one of them spots a small piece of white fabric flapping in the bushes.
Oh my god. What is that thing?
We gotta get out of here, man.
That thing right there, you see it?
Yeah, well, why are we here?
Let's go, let's go.
From the shadows comes a person, draped in a white gown, just like the legends say. However, I think there's probably a strong chance that this was one of their friends, because it pretty much looks and runs like a normal person in my opinion. It's following them for a while, but then it disappears at exactly 11 minutes and 3 seconds, which is strange, though it could be achieved with some simple editing. They reach their ride a minute later, and shortly before they peel off, this white piece of fabric flaps behind them. Maybe I was wrong about my earlier assumption about this being made up. Unfortunately, we never do get to see its face to tell if the eyes were fully black like the legend says, or not. A Reddit user named Miss Doolittle Tex posted some really creepy things caught on camera for the Chills Narrator subreddit to analyze. A man with shifty eyes and an odd expression walks to her front door and doesn't ring it, just stands there confused. He thinks about doing who knows what next and then decides against it. He leaves her door but not her property, going on to walk around the perimeter and crossing into a neighbor's backyard without permission. He returns a short while later, running away and full of energy. Only he knows what he did for sure or how bad it was. Miss Doolittle Tex calls the police to make a report, and based on this video evidence, I think she was absolutely in the right to do so. There's no reason for him to be creeping around like that, and it's good to get everything documented early, in case things get even weirder in the future. Besides, I would want my neighbor to look out for me in the same way as I do for them. YouTuber Seeker of Ghosts seeks ghosts in this paranormal forest, but what he finds is a goblin. He first spots it in the darkness through his camera lens. You can see its vague outline up close. Here it is again. After he flees from the goblin, he hears it again. He runs off a second time, hoping that the angry goblin doesn't follow. I don't blame him, though we didn't get a clear enough look to confirm that it was in fact a goblin. The mysterious creature sparks fear in me. I wouldn't stick around either. There's an older man who's looking out the window at Jacob Hessler and his friend, and it's freaking them out how he keeps leaving the spot and coming back to stare some more.
He's looking over. He's looking over. And now he walks away.
Some people suggest that the old man is simply looking at them because they were looking at him, and that they should just leave him alone, but this scenario still requires the old man to look out of his window in the middle of the night to notice they were there in the first place, which is odd. Maybe they were being loud or something, but the way they keep their voices low makes me think they were probably being quiet the whole time. So as it stands, this is a mysterious exchange without words and without explanation. Are there paranormal happenings recurring in your home? This YouTuber can relate. Published to YouTube by Youngboy Lloyd in March of 2020, Lloyd asks viewers for help as he believes there's a ghost in his home. He shows video proof across a series of 3 clips. The first part shows him watching something on TV when a plant falls over on its own accord and rolls off the entertainment center. When Lloyd moves to pick it up, it falls over again and he gets scared off by something unseen. In the next clip, he takes action, burning sage to get rid of the ghostly presence, and as he does so, the chair at the end of the table starts moving. Lloyd doesn't notice at first, so the ghost forces him to, aggressively flinging the chair onto its side. In the last video, Lloyd says he's not going to allow a ghost to take over his house. As he's talking, a cabinet door opens behind him in the next room. A pot on the counter can be seen falling to the floor. Lloyd jumps up from his seat and tells the ghost to leave.
Eat that thing, my one with up.
Did the ghost listen? I don't think so. Ryan Layton records what he says is a full-bodied apparition jumping over the table in his apartment. At 2 minutes, there is a loud noise, and some kind of pale, ghost-like figure appears in front of the camera. But is it paranormal or something else is the question. The webcam is low quality and skipping frames, so this could simply be somebody shining a flashlight directly at it to create the illusion of a ghost. Let me know what you make of this video, because to me it's kind of hard to tell if this video is supernatural or nothing special. Creepy videos don't get much scarier than the creature caught lurking around Anton Meyer's house. No, his house is not haunted, at least not in the traditional sense, but this scary moment will definitely haunt him for the rest of his days in South Africa. The animal control expert needs to move the snake into a cylinder containment unit on the floor, but as more and more of the creature stretches forth, I don't think it will fit. I wanted to know if this is a snouted cobra like he says it is. If so, these snakes are highly venomous and probably the absolute last species you'd want in your home, let alone in such an intimate area. Oh, and by the way, according to the description of this video, the handler accidentally lost his grip and the snake made the watery retreat back to where it came from. Hopefully it doesn't make a second appearance when they least expect it, but since cobras tend to be territorial during certain parts of the year, it's likely to return at some point. While exploring the Mount Morris Mystery House, YouTuber Spirit Walk Paranormal tried to unlock the mystery. As one of the crew is explaining about the strange happenings in the house, something strange occurs right in front of them.
Second girl disappeared completely. The second girl disappeared completely.
And then another one.
While I'm talking to the guys, a strange anomaly appears in the top left corner of the frame and moves right in a strange manner. I don't think this is an insect because of the transparency, and dust normally shows up in a sphere-like shape, but I cannot claim this is paranormal.
I'd say that was probably dust, but some things are harder to explain, and more strange noises are heard.
Can you touch this, please?
The spirits apparently want to imprison them. Maybe so that they will have someone to talk to. What does this spirit want? It wants its presence to be known.
There you are. Are you on my back right now? Can you get off? Can you get off, please?
But it also seems to be guiding them to something, or to someone.
Can you come into this room?
Or maybe it's warning them.
Are you trying to get our attention to the attic?
Although some of these EVPs are a bit of a stretch, I think, others seem very distinct, I do think something is trying to communicate with the paranormal team in Mount Morris Mystery House, but who or for what reason is anyone's guess. If you thought gargoyles were only a thing of Gothic cathedrals, like Notre Dame, think again. Published by Mr. Illusion in March of 2022, this scary video purports to capture a real-life flying gargoyle. I couldn't find the origins of this mysterious video, but the footage shows chaos ensuing amongst a group of people as a monstrous creature appears in the sky overhead. The flying creature is enormous, with large, bat-like wings, a long tail, and what looks like a human head. As it flaps its wings, traveling across the sky, the people below panic. It is captured briefly one more time flying away. Is this CGI, a real-life gargoyle, or some other demon in flight? Whatever it is, I wish it would turn back to stone. A garbage man in New York City leaked this video online to show us a scary side of the industry that we were never meant to see. He needs to pull this dumpster down an alley to the garbage truck. Most of us would walk right up and grab the handle, but the veteran worker does something important first. He kicks the dumpster and waits. That's because out here you can get surrounded by a mob of rats. If you walk up to their territory without giving them a heads up, kicking makes them scatter away.
Come on, bro. Come on.
Get your stuff together and get out of here. Get all your boys. Tell all your boys, let's go. Yeah.
This dumpster must not have much food in it because only a few run away instead of dozens like normal. Now comes the hard part.
Now we're going to attempt to move the can.
He gives a sharp tug and lets go. When nothing confronts him, he proceeds. He gets halfway down the alley when something creepy decides to make his day twice as difficult.
Still. Come on, bro. You gotta go. Can't go back in there.
This one is smaller than the rest, but it's stuck around longer than the others and seems twice as territorial. It starts to run away and then it gets another idea.
Where's the hero? Protect you.
I'm not sure if he fell over or dropped the camera, but the rat, scared and caught up in the moment, jumped straight at him. It looks like an aggressive move rather than just trying to get away. That rat did not want to give up its dumpster. This is why garbage men are paid more than teachers. Jokes the top comment of this video. I'm not sure if this statement is true, but after seeing this video, do you agree with it or not? And if this is how crazy just one rat acts, imagine how scary it would be to get chased down an alleyway by a whole swarm of them. Talk about a tough and thankless job. Redditor Go Bartlett went apartment viewing, and what they spotted in the footage later gave them pause. Watch the walkthrough and see if you can spot it. Did you see it? Keep your eye on the far corner of the room, next to the window. It looks like a tentacle reaches out from the corner of the wall before disappearing a moment later. The Redditors in the comments had some thoughts. Well, the comments on this one are the usual mixed bag. I personally like to think something Stranger Things-esque is living in the walls here. I too would skip this one. Published by Urban Ghost Hunters in February of 2020. This paranormal crew investigated a haunted 19th century church in rural Tennessee, with urban legends surrounding it, involving dark rituals from the 60s onward, and reports of shadow figures and disembodied voices there. It was ripe for investigation, and the crew wasn't disappointed. After placing a Bible on the candlelit railing in the church, something in there was angered by it. I guess this church lives up to its haunted reputation. Chris and Joe from YouTube channel Sees Crazy Crossroads are exploring an abandoned plantation mansion with a truly dark history, and it's about to come to life. Inside, Joe thinks he hears something.
Thought I heard something. Again, I thought I heard something. Maybe it's the wind blowing to the house.
As they continue their tour through the house, they hear whispers in the wind. Listen closely.
Lots of wind blowing through here, guys.
Did you hear it too? Chris also heard something slam upstairs.
Place is freaking up.
I heard something else bang.
two, I mean, distinctive, sounded like something slammed. Down here because the floor goes.
And this was perhaps the most audible noise captured by the guys.
Hey, what was that? Chris, what was that? Something just fell.
Felt my petty.
Moved that door, but... Okay, I don't think it was the door. I just heard something go clink.
As they wander apart, Joe hears some more loud noise from the other room.
First, I'm gonna check through everything. Chris, you okay? I just heard something fall again. I don't know. That was weird, man.
The team is then not so subtly told to leave.
I welcome you.
Back upstairs, the guys think they hear someone enter the house.
I think someone walked in the house.
That wakes the sleeping. What does that mean?
Where's true?
What's telling me?
What is that?
While using a paranormal device, they hear another loud, distant bang.
What was that, man? That was a loud bang again.
They go to check out what it is, and this happens.
Dude, this is where we heard the noise. This door just moved in that. No, that's awesome. Dude, these doors, both of them. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I hope not, but it could be.
Do you think this is just the wind?
Show me you're real.
It's moving.
Oh, what the hell? That's awesome. My camera's about to die. Alright, so guys.
Although it could be, I feel like this is too on point to be anything but paranormal. It seems like whatever is here is responding to Chris and Joe's commands. This tells me they want to make their presence known. This campus is home to a fixture called the Ghost Lamp, a light with a life of its own. According to legend, a young woman who attended the college took her life when she was kicked out. The woman's soul remains in this light. None of the other lights in this area flicker like this. Redditor Hyperpain thought it was bull until his brother took him there, and then this happened.
There he goes. Up. Can you turn on full bright for my friend Regan? Oh, hi. There it is. See? See? It does that. That's what it does. Okay. See?
It seems to respond to their request, but does that mean it's paranormally activated? An electrician and a priest weigh in the comments. Well, I guess that settles it. The ghost's soul must have some faulty wiring. A man on a train awakes to find someone staring at him in a weird way. A ghost in the window, to be precise. The pale figure doesn't move, supposedly locking eyes with the passenger, who at this point is beyond creeped out, feels watched, and thinks this is some scary stuff to wake up to. When zoomed in, it could be the reflection of something inanimate, though of what I'm not so sure. Whatever it is, the transparent outline of a face is still visible nonetheless. If you still can't see it, look on the right side of the window and you'll see a weird face with a long, narrow nose and all black eyes pressed against the glass. I assume the person who caught this on camera takes this train often and has never seen anything like this before. So what could this strange sighting be? Daffy of Busan TV is a YouTuber from Ambon, Indonesia, who makes ghost hunting videos in Depok City. One of the scariest, most haunted places he's ever gone exploring was a large abandoned hospital that shut down after too many things went wrong.
Belum lama rumah sakit ini terbengkalai. Astagfirullah. Anjir, serem amat ya.
One of the hospital's final mistakes before getting shut down was letting a nun named Sister Nancy pass away on the ICU floor. Now her angry spirit is watching over this haunted place and not in a loving way.
Assalamualaikum.
Well,
Antara gua halu atau tidak, tapi tadi gua ngelihat seperti ada orang lewat di sini.
As Daffy goes exploring, only the smallest of clues, flashes of light where his camera is not pointing, for example, belie the presence of anything paranormal. A walled-off entrance reveals an even older wing that feels entirely wrong. This place is haunted more than any other part of the hospital, he's sure of it. Soon he finds the ICU room on the second floor, the place where the ghost nun is said to haunt. He knows there's no turning back now.
Tadi gue mendengar sesuatu dari arah sini. Oke, kita langsung aja ke ruang ICU. Suster Neng sih.
He leaves the ICU ward feeling extremely uncomfortable, but without conclusive paranormal evidence, and as he takes a final look around...
Keren, sumpah ini keren. Assalamualaikum.
He hears something moving on wheels one room over. A row of cots remains undisturbed except for one that's been pulled out. I don't know if it was Sister Nancy, but I wouldn't stick around to find out. This video is over half an hour long, and I get every impression that he's truly exploring this abandoned hospital all by himself. A hospital that's every bit as haunted as the rumors say. A family is crossing the border from Texas into Mexico when this SUV gets on their tail and shines a light at them in a ploy to pull them over that they didn't fall for. The family knows this vehicle belongs to a group of outlaws who collect money from any American tourist unlucky enough to cross their path, so they speed back to the border with the SUV close behind. They make it back to safety, but somewhere along the way, they have this strange encounter that everyone was too distraught to notice at the time. Maybe the grainy dashcam video is to blame, but as one commenter points out, it almost looks like this dog literally teleports into the shot at 29 seconds. At 27 seconds, you can see both streets are empty, except for a man and his bike, and then 2 seconds later this dog appears out of nowhere, and doesn't come into focus until it's halfway across the street. I guess it could have emerged from the street corner, which was hidden by the truck in front, but however you want to look at it, you may never expect for a car chase in Mexico to end with a possibly teleporting dog. What's beneath your floorboards? This clip was originally posted by TikTok user Unfortunate Existence. The TikToker was replacing her carpets in her home when she came across a secret trap door, captioned, "When you pull the carpet off your floor and find a basement you never knew about." The footage reveals that the secret door led into a secret cellar. Admittedly, the creepiest thing about discovering a hidden room in your home is the question of why that room was kept hidden, but we'll get to that only after we've explored it. The basement is equipped with a set of wooden stairs, so it looks as though its location was known by the past tenant or owner and the basement was used. The TikToker captures her first descent into the secret room on video. There's nothing much in the room but a bucket in one corner, a garbage bag that appears to be empty under the stairs, an old chair and desk behind the stairs, and a disassembled bed frame. There's also a large red liquid splatter on one side of the room, which the TikToker calls a little concerning. She notes that it doesn't smell decent down there. When all appears to be relatively normal, the cellar light suddenly switches on, throwing a wrench into her investigation. Does someone know that she's there? That's more than a little concerning. Seen at a distance, TikToker Jen Us 58 is wondering, what is that? Let's take a look. The figure appears to be running in the beginning and then, mysteriously, stands frozen still. When the driver flashes its lights, the figure starts running again. He gets closer and finds that the figure appears headless. It then disappears into the darkness. But when he returns to his car, he turns to find the ghost has reappeared. So was it a ghost or something else? Well, I'm pondering that question. Most in the comments are wondering why the guy even got out of his car. Is this house haunted? Posted by YouTuber Ricky Velasquez. A security camera captured some jarring movement in the living room. Watch the sofa.
What? Read?
After the sofa appears to be shoved by something unseen, the woman shouts at her partner in alarm. Let's see it again.
What?
The sofa is given a good push, but unfortunately the narrow view prevents us from seeing if there's anything off camera. Although her reaction seems genuinely disturbed, I can't say that this couldn't be faked. We're gonna need a few more cameras. YouTube team HD Adam Paranormal finds themselves crying from fear in this mysterious abandoned village. That's because it's not totally abandoned. In the darkness of this derelict hut, they start to hear noises.
Kalk gidelim, kalk gidelim.
Ne oldu?
Kalk gidelim.
Ne oldu?
Kalk gidelim lütfen, kalk gidelim bak. Deprem oluyordu ya, depremin farkında mısın?
They ask the spirit to prove its presence.
Burada olduğunu kanıtla. Cin!
With the light back on, the presence continues to shake the room.
Ve duvardaki şeyleri başka bir şey zannettim ben.
When they ask it to move the door, the spirit complies.
Önümüzdeki kapıyı hareket ettirebilir misin? Cin!
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. 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 Kapıya doğru bak.
Kapıya doğru bak.
The team thinks the entity playing around with them is a genie. I think, genie or not, whatever is here will soon be done playing. If you were told by a spirit not to enter, would you listen? YouTube team 3 Spires Paranormal returns to the Church of Terror, and soon they are tormented. They ask the spirits here to make some noise, and they do.
Bang!
They hear it again.
Bak öyle kapıratlı sen bak ne bir fırtına.
Later, they hear what sounds like a squeaky gate opening or closing.
Don't come in.
The spirit says, "Don't come in." Seems like a pretty direct order to me. The guys go and check out the gates.
Ceiling.
But they're shut tight, and there's no one around. Is something preaching in this Church of Terror?
Don't come in.
Judging by this message, it seems to me that whatever it is, does not want to mingle with the congregation. Is there a ghost in this office? YouTuber Georgianne Hampton thinks there is. While one worker was at the office late at night, something strange happened. Watch the bottom right corner. Did something unseen just open that drawer? Or are the mechanics of the dresser off kilter? If this is a one-off event, I tend to think it is probably just a malfunctioning dresser. If there's more to the story, and more video evidence, I might change my mind though. Either way, it never hurts to burn some sage. This TikToker is wondering what this thing is. The creepy creature growls and leaps around the yard. Some in the comments are saying that the license plate suggests this was filmed in Malaysia. In that case, I agree it could be a Malaysian flying fox, or as many in the comments suggest, an exceptionally large bat, and it appears to be caught on something. No wonder it's so angry, and its screeching anger is leaving viewers shocked and confused. Blink and you might miss it. Shared by Redditor Dreadlock, this is one of the most compelling UAP videos captured by Homeland Security in Puerto Rico. The flying object is first seen traveling quickly over land. Keeping the object in its sights, the camera captures it as it dips down into the water, entering and exiting without seeming to lose any speed. After a time, it splits into two, each drifting away from the other. What is this thing? The experts can't even pin down what this thing is, so I don't think we'll ever know for sure. But yeah, it feels pretty extraterrestrial to me. TF141 Ghost goes exploring an abandoned house, one he found on a secret blog about haunted locations in his hometown. He walks slowly across a rotting floor that can barely support his weight, and apparently the floor isn't the only thing left rotting in this house.
As you can see, I mean, it's definitely abandoned. It's been abandoned for, I would say, quite some time now. Give you the grand tour of the kitchen. The tour of the abandoned house. It's kind of creepy in here, I'm gonna be honest. Check out this little door. I was really hoping I'd find something. I have no idea what the that is, so I'm not gonna touch that.
This mysterious object has been delicately wrapped in some kind of deli paper and left hanging. I have no idea what this is, but I'm afraid that it was once attached to someone.
I totally forgot there's an upstairs.
Oh, these are rickety stairs.
It's about 20 degrees. It's kind of weird. Oh, and what's over here? There is a Bible. There's a Bible next to about 100 toys.
The way the book is facing the camera is creepy, like it was left there on purpose, perhaps to guard against some evil in this room. Maybe an exorcism on someone possessed by a demon took place here. With that in mind, what he does next is very questionable indeed.
I'm gonna grab this Bible and take it with me, because I might need it on the way out. Alright, time to go. I'm just gonna leave this here. That's really...
Hopefully, removing the book didn't freeze something from that attic space. Besides that, I wouldn't want to touch anything that was possibly used during an exorcism anyway. And on top of that, discarding the book without a care seems like really bad luck to begin with. Oh, and one more thing. More bad news, of course. I think there may have been more clues in this hole at the top of the stairs. But what was hiding in there could not have been good. I think I might even see a face. Walking home in the dark is never a treat. It's even worse if you cross paths with something like this. Posted to YouTube in February of 2018 by Rohit Mukherjee. This ghost sighting was caught on camera in India. The YouTuber writes that one of his uncle's friends captured the creature on camera while returning home late from work with a friend. He writes, as he was coming down the road, he heard some noises, mostly shrieks, and he thought it might be an animal or something. As he was looking around, he saw something on the trees and pointed his mobile camera towards it, and then he saw this mysterious creature. The footage does show a figure in the trees. It looks like a human outline. At first, you assume it's just some oddity in the shadows, but then it moves. After seeing this creature, the men say, "Bug, bug," which means run, run. They then raced home and sent the video to Rohit's uncle. What do you think this figure could be? A ghost, an evil shadow, or some other strange entity? Or maybe it's just a monkey? A ghost hunting crew called the Singapore Paranormal Investigators go exploring the abandoned Bucket Brown Cemetery. Constructed in 1922, this is one of the largest burial grounds in the entire country. So if any place were to be haunted, it would be here. They light candles to attract spirits and soon read an energy spike on their paranormal equipment. They take a picture of the darkness ahead and think they've caught something paranormal in the shape of a glowing orb. I played this part in slow motion and discovered this strange orb is really a street sign reflecting the flash of the camera. I don't think they were purposefully faking this part and probably thought it was real paranormal evidence at the time because they were scared. The ghost meter swirls with another buildup of paranormal energy, and a solid black orb comes out of the equipment, or more likely an insect. Later that night, they think they see something fly over the candles in the area. I don't see anything here, but maybe you do. Their camera stops working shortly after they see it, so maybe there was a ghost after all. This mother is relaxing on the patio when a loud boom startles her pretty badly. No, I said loud. The boom is so large it rocks the camera and briefly lights up the room despite it being in the middle of the day. I really hope Chris knew what he was doing, because that sounded like it was way too close to the house. Sound in the absence of sight can be seriously alarming. This video shows just how frightening it can feel to hear something you cannot see. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Camilla Rose 529. The Redditor explains that she and a friend were cleaning a house when they heard this incredible mayhem outside.
Yeah. What was that? Freaking me out.
They went out to see what was causing all the ruckus. The sound fills up all airspace outside. Though garbled, it sounds a bit like a jet flying overhead. A moment later, however, this terrifying roar blows your eardrums out. Maybe not a jet, perhaps a literal monster.
Yeah. What was that? Freaking me out.
Camilla writes, "We called the police and they were unable to give us any information about what was going on around us and never went back to that house again." Redditor Paranormal Psychic notes in the comments, there have been multiple eerie sounds coming seemingly from either the woods or the sky itself, usually music, horns, or even screaming. First time I've ever heard growling. Is this a growl? If not, what is it? It certainly doesn't sound human. A YouTuber named Jay Katera lives outside of an Air Force base somewhere in the southeast Michigan. He has been seeing some strange things in the sky lately, so he decides to point his security camera straight up and live stream. Not too long after, he captures this strange sighting. Jay Katera isn't sure if this is an alien UFO, a secret government project, or some sort of paranormal orb, but he is sure that it was scanning the ground as if it was looking for something. Let me know if you have a reasonable explanation for this, or if you've seen anything that looks similar, especially if you live in the same state as the cameraman. A ghost hunting team led by paranormal investigator Lavina goes exploring a haunted chapel in Dixon, Oklahoma, or they try to at least. Getting into the haunted place is not as easy as it would seem.
What the?
She went to open that door and it come back on her.
At 42 seconds, one of the investigators opens the door a crack and it slams back with an unreasonable amount of force. Something from the other side, something paranormal perhaps, does not want them to go any further. They take the hint and don't stay for much longer, but apparently something has no problem opening up their door and coming with them for the ride home, as evidenced by this paranormal activity caught on their ghost meter equipment.
Is there a speaker following us?
Oh my.
Their paranormal equipment flips out when she gets stern with the supernatural.
You need to leave now.
He said no.
Lavina must have asked too many questions, because soon she goes into a trance-like state and begins to nod even though she was very active and alert moments ago. She stares at them with an expression they do not like or recognize. As they wrestle the ghost meter out of her hands, her eyes are not how they've ever seen before.
Lavina. Give me that.
Gotta go. Look, we need to go.
Give me that.
We get out of here.
Give me that thing.
Even she does not recognize herself. Tell me if you think they're acting or not.
You see it? Oh my eyes are like glowing.
Like a bloodshot.
I am more skeptical, except faking this part doesn't explain the door slamming shut by itself, or the ghost meter responding to their specific questions in real time. With that in mind, I think this paranormal investigation might be real. The evidence was probably not worth it in the long run, considered they may have inadvertently forged a spiritual attachment to something beyond the grave. A second entry on this list explores Hill House, the most haunted house in Texas. This time, YouTuber Kelsey Davis, who is a psychic medium, feels the presence there.
I have chills right now. There's someone behind me. I think it's Toby.
I'm getting the chills. Toby.
And she hears it too.
Oh my. Kelsey, it started running. Oh, he started running.
14?
Yes. It was loud. You heard his foot. It was like that.
As they're turning on the Spirit app, they hear another terrible bump.
Kelsey.
Later, a paranormal device goes off, as does a child's toy.
Where's that coming from?
It's upstairs.
It's Josh's room.
Get the out of here. No, this.
That is.
This. What was that? It's a toy.
That's in Josh's room.
They head up to Josh's room to see what toy was triggered.
Hi, Joshua. What?
Something ran up again, ran at me.
Ran at you?
Yeah.
What's the sound?
Where's that coming from?
I think I've had enough of Hill House. I'm 100% positive that if I paid this place a visit, I'd leave with my pants brown. Yasa is exploring not a tunnel, not a cave, but a haunted well, as in a dark hole straight down. He gets strapped into a pulley system and slowly lowered into the claustrophobic entrance. Right away, he finds a snake at the bottom along with some other scary things that are way more concerning.
في شيء ترى هنا.
A toy blocks a small passage that he can't fit through, but a child can. Perhaps this is where the child who haunts this well crawled to after falling in. As he contemplates this possibility, something comes at him from behind.
المغارة هذه طويلة. هو كهف بس حرارة فيها غير طبيعي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
I think this is probably just part of the well, but it also kind of looks like the side profile of a boy's grinning face, rotten teeth and all. A Ring doorbell captures some strange activity outside of Mike Crook's house that could be paranormal or a camera glitch. A shadow person walks down the sidewalk, mysteriously disappears, and even though he never emerges from the other side of the bush, you can still hear footsteps that actually sound like they're getting closer to the camera, if anything. The audio also plays weird noises at the exact moment the ghost disappears, which is even more evidence that this frightening moment could be paranormal. Considering this bizarre event was caught on camera around Halloween, I think it was probably edited, but maybe this is proof that there is something supernatural to All Hallows Eve after all. A return to these haunted, hollowed-out buildings leads YouTuber Samal Shadow Hunter to the shadows. Here is one of them. Samal meets with a looming shadow figure on this path, and as he gets closer, it disappears. He continues his search around the compound and encounters another figure.
Oh, we got. Isa day ka. Isa ka. Amigo. Ay, ikaw wala, amigo. Diyan lang ka.
As he watches the hooded being, it too disappears.
Kaupo na siya guys, oh. Hindi gumagalaw guys. Wala, grabe naman yan. Ruwan na ako na.
What is this figure? It is not actually a shadow, as we may have assumed. It's a being in a robe and a hood, perhaps a demon? I don't know what it is, but to me, it looks like the shadow hunter is becoming the hunted. A Nepali YouTube channel named Anish Gurung TV are not full-time ghost investigators, but they do have some paranormal investigation videos in abandoned places that get pretty creepy. An apparition seems to follow them on one of their urban explorations. This is when they first hear it. I want to say that this is the wind, but it's a calm night and this sounds way too much like a haunting moan. They reach the top and look around, feeling the presence of a ghost near them at all times. There's nowhere else left to explore, so they go back to the bottom and are about to leave when they hear it again twice. What? But I've saved the best paranormal evidence for last. At 4 minutes and 20 seconds, they capture these eyes and a sigh from behind. They didn't hear or see it at the time, but like I said in the beginning, they're not professional ghost investigators and missed some of the scariest things caught on camera. This haunted home has visible spirits stalking about. Published by A Sip of Fear in January of 2022, an unsettling figure was captured in the glass during this paranormal investigation. After setting up some cameras in this haunted home, activity begins pretty quickly. A wardrobe door is captured opening and closing, and later a bang causes the paranormal investigator to jump out of his skin. In another room, a stationary camera captures a figure's reflection in the glass door of a shelf. And again, the wardrobe door opens and closes repeatedly. Is this spirit trying to tell us something?
What's the distance?
Or does she just want to be left alone? This video is believed to have happened sometime in 2001. A person is walking around what looks like to be an old basement when they think they notice something on the floor.
What the hell's that? Right. That on the floor. Right there.
The footage is too grainy to see, but I think he may have been looking at a shoe, or even the top of someone's head coming out from just behind the door. Suddenly, he looks up and sees some sort of white apparition glaring back at him with lifeless glowing eyes. I guess that it could just be someone who is dressed up, but there's something about his reaction that seems genuine. The Stroud House in Wake Forest is haunted by a shadow figure. YouTube team Just Ghouly Things believes they've captured this figure on camera. Watch closely.
I don't even feel defeated because I feel like I've just learned so much.
Becca enters the kitchen. That's the first shadow you see, but they've also captured a second, much taller one. I can't tell if this figure is just Becca retreating and just blocking the light differently. The figure does seem abnormally tall. But if it is a shadow figure, I think these ghouls better watch out. Things won't end well for them. An instructor records himself and his students for a teacher evaluation. He's giving a lecture about safety when some strange activities start to happen.
About what dangers might we put into it. Stephen, don't do that, please. It's distracting. That's one thing. Someone give me another one then. Strangers.
Out, just moved out his hole.
Right. What we're going to do, we need to... I tell you what, guys. Let's just go out for a minute.
By now, the class is in mild shock as they awkwardly line up and leave. According to the description of this video, later on they would say that they felt a strange static electricity in the air and a tingling sensation in their faces. After they leave, the possible haunting seems to continue for quite some time. Finally, the camera is knocked to the ground by an unseen force and the video ends. These Russian nightclub partiers look normal enough, but check out what happens to some of their eyes during a power outage.
Guys, check it out. Look at that.
Almost everyone else's eyes are not visible except for a select few. Even if these were contact lenses or something like that, there's absolutely no light to reflect. Until you can give me a scientific explanation as to why someone's eyes would glow in the dark with the lights out, I would have to say this video is definitely not normal, to say the least. An Urbex YouTuber called RNK All Day is exploring a creepy building that used to be a funeral home before it was abandoned. The funeral home is not haunted per se, at least not from what I can tell, but what they find is every bit as scary as any ghost video you'll ever watch. You see, a long time ago, this North Carolina establishment was shut down because of improper business operations. People were not notified about their loved ones in a timely fashion, and the remains were often not stored properly at all. As RNK All Day explores the abandoned building, he finds evidence of their misdeeds laying out in the open. Sitting in a battered cupboard box on an old altar is a discarded plastic bag full of what appears to be ashes. There's no way to tell if these are the ashes of someone until you look at the box. That definitely says cremation services. If this is what we think it is, which I think it almost definitely is, then they should be properly placed in an urn, not out in the open like this. And if there are more items like this lying around, then maybe this building is haunted after all. Clay of a paranormal YouTube channel called Time to Play TV is exploring the old Hamilton County Jail in Jasper, Florida on a ghost hunting investigation. Built in 1893, this haunted jail was in operation for 101 years. It is the resting place of many who are believed to have returned as wailing apparitions, slamming doors shut and turning on the lights. Some sections have been remodeled, and this guest bedroom is where you'll find a creepy possessed doll. As they are moving the creepy doll from its crib to the bed, a bizarre shadow goes ahead of them and disappears under the bed. Anyway, they sit her up and set up paranormal equipment to better investigate, and that's when the situation goes from strange to beyond creepy. 4 minutes and 27 seconds into the video is when they are able to convince a ghost to communicate through EVP equipment.
Are you okay with us being in this room right now?
Yes.
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 Another yes.
Yeah.
I don't think these EVPs are pre-recorded messages on a fake ghost hunting app, because the scary voices continue to make sense and answer very specific questions in real time.
Do you know who we are? Like, can you tell us our names?
Yeah, this is alright. Yes.
A little ghost girl's voice says something I can't understand. And as the creepy doll moves by itself, the scary voice of a little ghost girl screams right before the doll falls over.
Oh my gosh. The doll just
That's been up for...
They sit the cursed toy upright and resume the paranormal experiment.
If that was a spirit, can you make one of the meters go off? Oh, whoa. Seen it?
What?
Look at my meter.
Many of the paranormal EVP they've caught on camera has been the voice of a child, so they logically infer that this could be a spirit of a child trapped inside of the doll.
Are you a young spirit? Are you a child? Look, you see that?
Somehow the doll creepily nods with agreement that it's possessed by a little girl, and then it presents them with some of the best paranormal evidence of the night.
Well, I'm pretty sure that was you that maybe moved the doll and did the K2 later. Now we'd like... Whoa! Oh my... The K2 meter just fell over.
Somehow, upon the very mention of her paranormal equipment, her ghost meter, which is right by the doll's hand, falls over on its own, but the doll remains sitting up. Whatever this is, I think it's definitely paranormal and feeding off of their fearful energy.
Oh my play, this is so creepy. Whoa, okay.
This time they put the doll leaning back at an angle where it's impossible for it to fall forward by itself, and yet as they continue to speak, the toy leans forward and turns towards them as if making eye contact.
Who's making that doll move? Who said, I am?
The more they talk, the stronger it becomes, and after a while the doll is falling clear off the bed. It's too bad that we couldn't get a wider angle to prove that the ghost hunters weren't touching anything when it fell over. I feel like Clay could have ran his hand under the pillow to make it fall over, but they sound genuinely surprised, so I doubt it. Also, this final piece of paranormal evidence is enough proof in my mind that the Hamilton County Jail is quite haunted. They wait for their equipment to register movement and get nothing until they challenge it.
Don't be shy or scared. Maybe you're scared and you don't want to do it because you're scared.
Holy...
That works a lot.
Oh my gosh. Whoa.
I think this is real because if you listen close, it beeps as soon as he says the word scared.
Maybe you're scared and you don't want to do it because you're scared.
Oh.
While hiking in the woods of Slovakia, this hiker didn't realize he was being stalked until it was nearly too late. Published by Lion Plays Mobile in January of 2022, this hiker is capturing video in the woods as forest noises sound all around him. After a moment, you can see something large in the trees, rattling them aggressively. The unknown creature roars, and the hiker drops his camera downward and starts running. What is haunting the forests of Slovakia? Is it a bear or something out of a horror story? When you're arguing whether a shirt is red or maroon, the ghosts in your presence will know they've had enough of you two. Published to YouTube in May of 2020, this is what happens when a ghost gets fed up with your bickering, throws up his hands and storms out of the house he's haunting. The uploader explains that during their last visit to this place, they experienced the door slamming but didn't have a chance to record it, so this time they returned to capture it on film. This video is cut down to 3 minutes of the 50 that were recorded. The clip shows the boys arguing whether or not one of their shirts is red, before deciding to call it quits with the filming, since it had been nearly an hour. Just then, something clearly slams in the distance. The uploader says his friend thought it was the hinges of the door, rather than a ghost, but decides that the video is proof it wasn't the hinges. He also claims that he and a friend saw a shadow person in this building as well. The uploader writes, something said that it could have been air in the last upload, but it wasn't sure. The thing, if it was air, it would have opened it. The air is coming from outside, so it would push out to open. Instead, what we call was a ghost slamming the door the opposite direction of where the air was coming from, so the force of the door slamming was going against the air. This was filmed in Harlingen, Texas, and there wasn't much airflow in the place according to the uploader. The group was sweating from so much stale heat. Well, maybe the ghost was too. This laboratory is said to be frequented by a spirit who is always near. Here you can see a door pull open by itself with no one standing on the other side. Just in case you were thinking someone could have opened it off camera, here's the same event from another angle, this time taken from the other side. No one is nearby, otherwise they would have cast a shadow on the wall, or else be visible in the reflection of the clean lab floor. Unless this door is controlled by a button we can't see, then there should be no way for it to open by itself. So what do you think? Is this real or just a staged video, cooked up by a bored scientist at work? A large, lonesome mansion seems like the perfect place for a channel called Abandoned World Explorer to do its thing, but they seem to miss the questionable red stain seen here at the 8-minute and 11-second mark as they tentatively test the floor to make sure they don't fall through. Most of the house looks run down, but they come across a creepy entrance that you will have to crouch down to get into. The passageway goes on for 3 full minutes until they find an even more foreboding staircase descending deeper. It looks like the steps could break away or something could reach out from below. The very bottom floor feels extremely off and wrong. He's poking around when something grabs his attention from behind.
Hello?
This odd area of the house personally gives me the feeling that someone was kept here away from the rest of the family, though I don't know why. He understandably leaves before he gets a chance to investigate what was possibly down there with him. This is a reminder never to do Randonautica solo. YouTuber Exploring with Angelo is led into the dark forest where he finds this creepy arrangement of cryptic stuff. As he looks through it, he feels something watching him.
For some reason I thought there was going to be something behind that. They are all victims in place this. I see them all day long. My head, it hurts.
And soon he knows it.
Oh, jeez, he's right there.
Now Angelo is watching him. But he still has no clearer idea as to what this figure is doing, but the man has something to be concerned about. So Angelo knows he has to escape before it's too late.
What the f? What the f?
Is this man really wanting to end lives? Or is he just practicing his axe throwing? I think Angelo was right to flee instead of sticking around to find out. After all, it's better to be safe than sorry. Something is way wrong with this store, and I want to know if it's fake or a real ghost. Tell me if this wire moves by itself, or if it's simply the way that it's been tangled up. An hour later, these items fall off the shelf, but they are stacked kind of weird and could have been slid off. Then, a full 10 hours later, 3 more items drop down, and a 4th falls from the back of the pile to the floor. Sure, they are round, but are they round enough to roll off the shelf with no one nearby? Seems unlikely. Maybe the shelves are unlevel, or maybe whoever stocked them is just piling them on top of each other to fall off later, or maybe it's a real ghost after all. A person is walking through the forest when a strong feeling of paranoia guides them to this moss-covered opening. They can sense something odd is near, but only when watching the video later do they realize how close it really was. A broad face with a wild flat nose and open mouth stares back at them. This is a troll caught on camera, says the internet, but the alleged troll sighting looks more like a natural formation in the bark, so I can't say that I agree. Is my house haunted? Writes a user named BB5432 on the haunted subreddit. This paranormal video of their place was caught on a neighbor's doorbell cam across the street, who later showed it to her out of concern. It doesn't look like much at first, but there's actually a lot of creepy things going on in this video that you might not see. But first, let's start with the basics. The Reddit poster claims her house was completely dark when these mysterious, unexplained lights started flashing all around the door. The television in the living room was not on, she says, and even if it were on, it's facing the opposite way at an angle that would not create this effect at all. Whether or not to believe her is up to you. I do, because the flashing seems too bright for a television and takes up the whole window at times. Nobody would watch a television screen that bright because it would undoubtedly hurt to look at for that long. And at 25 seconds, the creepy light grows even brighter and does not subside until the video ends. BB5432 later posted, she has no further reason to think their house is haunted, but still struggles to explain what this was if not a ghost. She adds the same thing happened to her years ago. The same neighbor showing her and her husband lights in their door, and nobody could figure it out then either. Someone said they should check the electrical wiring in that room, which I agree is a good move. But other than that, everyone else says this is super weird, and even she has to admit she's creeped out. There's also one more weird thing that I wasn't even going to mention, except she saw it too. A shadow figure in the doorway. You can see it whenever the lights go down, but it's probably most apparent at 4 seconds. I took a still image and zoomed in. Here it is with no special effects whatsoever. The outline of a shadow figure looking out the window. Tell me if you can see it too. I'd say that house is haunted, if that's not a resident.